And we are live. Hello, everyone. We'll give it a few seconds till a few more people appear. Make sure I've got the right link. Okay, a few viewers in. Hello, everyone. Good evening. If you're watching us on Twitter, it'd be ideal if you could watch on YouTube. That way you can join in the chat. And for you chaps as well, you've got a button at the bottom that means you can open the chat window as well.
Sorry.
Does that chat with people on YouTube?
Yes, live feed of all the Twitch and YouTube comments. We can flash them up on the screen as well. Okay, we shall make a start. Hello, everyone. I am Tom Francis. With me, I have Paul Lawrence, who in the January transfer window we have signed as co-host of Greyhound Watch Along.
Good evening all.
What are you drinking tonight, Paul?
Stella.
Stella. Good choice. I'm also on the Stella.
Good.
We have Greyhound owner George Burton. Hello, George.
Hello, Tom. Thanks for having me.
What's your beverage?
I'm Corona in a bottle. A little bit sophisticated for such an occasion.
No lime.
No lime. None of that fancy stuff.
That's fine. And Kenny, my fellow Greyhound owner.
Evening, Tom. I guess you're going to ask. It is tonight Sierra Nevada in a tenants glass.
Sierra Nevada. That is strong stuff for an evening of Greyhound punting. Very good. Right, we've got a packed card tonight, starting a bit earlier than we normally would be. So let's get on to the first race. We can do naps and next best after that one, unless anyone has a nap or next best in the first race.
No, I was tempted. I feel like I've had a bet on the early kickoff because I'm actually in the FA Cup on this one as well. So it's like those moments where you just realise your coupon's going down the drain before everyone else has started. But yeah, I think it's a great race for first race of the night as well. There's a couple of decent dogs in it. Just for info, the FA Cup pick that I have got is Trap 3, which was a bit of a toss-up anyway between 3 and 5. I do fancy 5. Back to earlier as well, just to spread my bets. If I get knocked out the FA Cup, hopefully I've got a bit of money back. But yeah, decent race.
So for those who don't know what the Romford FA Cup is, it is a competition on Twitter. We used to do it a lot back in the early 2010s. It's basically a knockout competition. People on Twitter get drawn one against each other and allocated a race. The first one gets the first pick in the race. The second one has to pick a dog to beat that dog, and it's a straight knockout. So this is week 1 of it. We've got 16 entrants, and Bresbet have been kind enough to price up the match bets as well. So that's something else we can have a look at. So what's your pick in this race then, Kenny?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the 5. I just think it ran well last time. I think it's got great earlier, even though it looked like it was crowded at the bend at the first bend last time out. I think it seems quite a smart dog as well. So I'm hoping it avoids trouble and gets round. I think it does get a clear run. It could be in the next county in terms of how quick it could be. But again, it's Romford. It's got to get a clear one at the first bend. And obviously I see 3 as a danger, but I have actually backed 5. But I've got, as I said, I've got 3 in the FA Cup. So spreading the bets.
So you're taking you're the away team then, Kenny? Yeah,
I was. Yeah.
So you're going for a kind of dog that can do it from off the pace with Wildcat Tony in that respect, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What do you fancy, George?
Yeah, nothing original for me. The 5, I think it's not the strongest race, but does make it quite competitive. I think the 1 and the 2, top grade or A2 they probably need a flyer to get round in front. The 3 looks a nice pup, showed a nice bit of early the last couple of starts, but the 5 by far the quickest on the clock and can do it both ways. The 6 was interesting, given that it's a D1 dog at Hove, but the trials didn't seem to improve that much, and it does run quite wide at home, so I'm not sure whether it's been losing a couple of lengths around the bends. But on the form that's there, I think the 5 is the right favourite, and that's a selection.
Okay, the 5 for George. Got a few comments in. Trap 5, fastest dog out of the Romford dogs. Trap 4 needs to go bingo, wins, but got 2 and 3 inside. Inside it all price, leave it alone.
Yeah, the 4 is very. If it leads, it'll do a good time. But if it doesn't, I don't think it'll show up too handily. Its last win as well was only a 4-dog race, so it didn't have much to clear. Whereas this time, like we said, it's got A1 dogs to clear. It would be a big ask for the 4.
Yeah. PL, what do you fancy?
Yeah, I made 5 favourite, and I've had a little nibble at 2-1 just then on the machine, and I thought 4 was a danger. I thought I made 4 second in actually. I know can miss the break, but yeah, can smash as well, and would be
got the draw.
Yeah, would be alive. Yeah, because they're all going to sort of edge in on the inside. So, and again, no go zone. You don't really know what that's all about, and you think, well, Seamus says give him 2 looks, and yet it kind of seems to be he is what he is. So you wouldn't think he was going to improve massively off of what he's shown, and he is ultra wide as well. He's got a good draw because Sweet Cheeks is going to kind of just edge in a little bit, but you haven't got to lead with Sweet Cheeks, so I think if Sweet Cheeks gets any kind of break, it'll just turn in a pitch and blow him down the back. But as I say, I was a bit wary of 4 getting any kind of start here.
Okay. Yeah, my worry is for hampering Sweet Cheeks to the bend, which for me would leave 3 or 6 as the obvious dangers. I'd slightly favour the 3 out of those, but I think it's quite a tough race, and it's an if race. There's a lot of ifs for this. There's not an obvious outcome for me. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting ones. So, like I said, the 6 D1 winning at odds on and around D1 at home, and you'd fancy it to go well if it took to the track. But again, 4-1 and on the drift, that's another one you could take a chance with. Another if.
Go wide. I'd rather bet trap 2 at 12-1 than trap 4 at 7-2. That's I think 2.
He's not a fan of the 4, is he? They always go wide. He's been 2 comments, both against 4.
Paul Watty was on last week. Longer show tonight, gents. Take it easy on the beers. You're not a Boris Workday. I didn't know we're on. Have I got news for you? Very good, Paul.
This is a business meeting, Paul.
Can't believe we're getting drinking advice from Watty.
I know. He'll be keeping up with us, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think Sweet Cheeks is getting a fair price now because obviously it was 7-4 and 39 in the earlies. But drifting out to a pretty decent. There is money obviously for Chili the Kid, and again, I can't really knock that either. So I think for me they were the 2, and obviously you look at the betting, and Wildcat Tony's going to be the danger if getting any kind of run through. The rest of them are big prices. Yeah, you're right, Tommy. It's an interesting race. You can't be too bolshy, but I do think Sweet Cheeks is getting out to a decent enough price now. Just to
reiterate as well for the FA Cup fans, it is Fatwas on 5 and Kenny on 3 here.
Thank you very much.
Aye.
FA Cup
that's the most important part of it, yeah.
Do we think there's any value in either of those bets?
5 to 2.
Do you want a commentary?
Always.
Right. She's waved a flag anyway. All eyes are on 3 and 5. Here comes the bunny. Lids rise away and racing. 5 comes out okay. Sweet Cheeks has got a bit of pace, but up on the inside, Wildcat Tony's going to come round and lead. Wildcat Tony from Sweet Cheeks now is trying to make a race of it down the far side, sitting in behind Chili the Kid, and wide on the track, no-go zone. 3rd turn, and now 5 drops up on the inside. Sweet Cheeks now goes on and kicks away from the field. Wide on the track, then comes no-go zone up towards the line. 5 beats 6. Looks like it might just be 3 for 3rd, but no doubt about the winner, Sweet Cheeks. Bittersweet for Kenny. Yeah, the FA Cup, but a profit on the old machine.
Exactly.
That's not won it how I thought it would, but it's won it well.
Yeah, won it well.
I must admit, I didn't think 5 a back run 3. Did you?
No.
I thought
No,
we would go
I-
close, but going up the inside of it, that's interesting running style, but that's done that really nicely.
Yeah, well, I was on the outside at the halfway, but then kind of just then dropped up on the inside. It's good manoeuvre, really. Good manoeuvre. Didn't look great coming out the second bend because I didn't think it'd do that around the last 2 bends, but great manoeuvre. And Sweet Cheeks probably isn't, as I said, isn't that wide, but can duck inside and then you see spinning off and then ducking back in again. So probably got a good sat nav there, Sweet Cheeks.
Yeah, I thought it ran well last time as well when it seemed to be quite a smart runner. Found a gap as well. So yeah, decent little dog. See Warren's on. Well done, Warren.
With a big price, Sweet Cheeks in the end. I had a little bit of a top up.
Well done, Warren.
Could be a 575 maiden coming in soon for that 5 if it hasn't already.
Yeah.
Matty Jones, good to see you, gents. Let's see how Kenny's tips go. Not well, usually, but we'll see how we do tonight.
Just had a winner.
He's kicked off well. The first. Fair play.
That'd be the first. That'd be the one and only.
Cheers,
Money
Ken.
man Matt had
Cheers,
4
mate.
in the first.
Cheers, Paul.
Canshaw, he ain't out the cup already. He does look a bit glum.
I've won it once. Don't win it again. Give someone else a chance. Eh?
Harry, no P&L tracker tonight. It's too distracting for a meeting as exciting as this, but we'll do our best to have a few bets as we go through the night.
You can have
Does that
mine
mean that-
plus 63. All right.
Oh, there we go.
That'll do.
Does that mean it gets too difficult to do after a few beers, Tom? When you get near the end of the show?
Yeah.
Say hello to Super Mario. You're getting absolute pelters tonight, Kenny. Okay, 6:28 next.
Yeah.
Let's pop this one up. So I don't think there's any Romford FA Cup picks in this race.
No, there is 2 reserves from.
There are 2 reserves.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get them on this one. So we've got T-Boy Jet who's come in. Femi Jezebel. For me, the 1 was a bet in this. What about you guys?
Yeah, I was a toss up between 1 and a 6. I think it's after the reserves are in, I thought the 6 looks got a really nice middle, but again, it just needs to get a good run to the second. But I thought 6 looked not bad for a price earlier on when I was looking it up.
I actually, it's a bit spooky because I actually agree with Kenny. I was big on the 2 Draper dogs. I thought actually I favoured, although 3 beat 5 in the trial, I favoured 5 because I thought on the leadability factor. But I actually know, I know the owner of Corin Logan, Big Tom Mumford. He's big pals with Gary Noble. We used to be at the office in the days when I was in Essex. 5 years plus now. But Tom loves his dogs, and he's got dogs with Dave Lee, and Corin Logan's a dog I've been following at Crayford. Actually, I did actually back him last summer, and I think he's a bit quirky. Actually, I don't know whether I haven't spoken to Tom, but I should have done really. But I think he is a bit of a chasey type. And although he's been run out 2 and 3 at Crayford, he kind of seems to duck in a little bit on the run up, but then he runs off on the turns. So it's a bit of a worry in that obviously he's a bit lacking in experience at Romford, but he's definitely got speed. There's no danger he's got speed. But I just wonder whether the safe way might just be to have a little bit on 6 maybe and just have a few forecasts back to beat 6, because I thought 6 was a good 2 to 3 and stays okay. That was me.
So 2 to 6, 2 to beat 6.
No, just probably bet 6 and have the probably the field at different stages in different denominations back to beat 6. Really, that's the way I saw it. If 6 is a reasonable price, that is.
7-2, Bresvett.
Yeah, probably not skinny enough at 7-2, but yeah. When I rearranged my prices, I made award winner about a 3 chance, but I definitely didn't make red the short 6-4. Put it that way. I think that might be a bit of an overreaction, but it's obviously a weaker. I think it's a weaker race now since Barry's dogs have come out. But it's a tricky enough race. Tricky enough because T-Boy Jet will edge into the rails.
Yeah.
I thought 2 was a hard dog to quantify. Really, more of a sort of a dog that probably would need to break to get in this race. Yeah, I thought it's a tough enough race to weigh up. I wasn't really jumping up and down to have a bet particularly.
No.
It's interesting. The one dog comes out of 3 and goes bang rails at Greyhound, but they trialled it out of 4 around Romford. The middle comment probably putting a few off, but having seen those Greyhound runs, if it runs like it does around there, I think it's got some 3:48 sectionals on the card as well, going back a few weeks. It probably should be good enough to win this, although I do always fear Lee Field's dogs. He tends to have some good handy open dogs with a lot of early pace. He's got 1 and 2 here. I would still fancy the one to win the race, but I'm certainly wary when he takes one for a maiden somewhere.
Yeah, a 379 should lead this race. Does anyone disagree with that?
No, and probably a 24:38 off the front would probably win this race as well. So
as
long as it doesn't do anything on the run up going right to the middle, then it should be fine.
Yeah, it's just as
with me looking at it, I don't even think I'm not really worried about the run up, particularly George. I'm more worried about what Corinne Logan's going to do at the first bend, because I can definitely see Corinne Logan. I think Corinne Logan's a dog that's probably wants to come just off the fence, edging in rather than tight on the fence, and I think we'll probably edge off a little bit run up, but I'm worried about what he's going to do at the first turn.
They could probably do with 2 going up with it and using that as a bit of a
and
as a bit of offence. Exactly.
Yeah. That's not a bad shot actually. Yeah, that could be actually a big ally. So if Lee's dog does run a race, then it might just help Corinne Logan come round in a pitch. Yeah, it's a good shout. That.
Have a quick look at T-Boy Jet. Yeah, on the sectionals. This is the thing with Romford though. You can just pop out a sectional like that after doing ones like that. It's just become so unpredictable for dogs starting. You just don't have that consistency in trapping. What I used to do when I got the card was look through it, see anything that had a sectional that's consistently way ahead of anything else, and see whether or not that could hold on. And that was my strategy for Romford for a number of years, but it doesn't really work as well anymore.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that last week, didn't we? It's just gone a little bit that way at Romford, but that's what makes this game tough.
Oh yes, that you get to a point in this game, and you get to a point as a judge where you can put a tissue together, and generally you can work out what's going to be favourite, and that is favourite. It's taking your analysis to that next level to see actually that's favourite. I don't think it should be, and that's really how you start to seriously win. Eddie Goodall's been on. He says, any of the lads had anything anti-post for the Vars? Anyone had a bet?
I haven't, but I'm just looking at it earlier, and I'm sure, given the price of him tonight, there's dog Ballydoyle Luigi, who ran an absolute blinder behind your favourite Droopy's Edition a few weeks ago. No sort of run.
We don't talk about Edition.
Too soon? Oh, right. Ran an absolute blinder, doing a 35.25 out of Firamoski, so certainly should stay well enough. And probably fancy prices to keep qualifying could be a shout. That was one I haven't looked or played. I think Warzone Tom's short enough at around 4-1 anti-post, so that would be my outsider pick, Ballydoyle Luigi.
Anyone else had anything? Any fancies?
No, I haven't played. I've not played anti-post. I think I'd rather sort of dabble on what I think is a bit of value on race by race. No, I've not. I think we were talking before we came on air, Tom. It's one of those, especially where you got some really fast dogs that run 4 bends that probably haven't got a lot of Romford experience. So to a certain extent, there's a lot of guessing going on whether they're going to stay. Even with Warzone Tom's obviously a quick dog and can break 34 seconds, and yet with a missed break and not a clear run, I think Romford can be a leveler for him. So, I kind of looked quickly, but I never really tend to go too much on the anti-post. I've kind of learned my lesson, I suppose. A bit like Cheltenham, a bit like the Derby. I think there's a lot of value to be had just analysing the 6 dogs in a race and going from there, because there's enough rickets. I think probably with a deep competition, especially you kind of got more things that can go wrong at it to a certain extent. So, I don't mind that shout from Rodney.
If Dapper Rodney gets loose tonight, I think that's a bit of value at 10-1 in the anti-post.
No, he's a nice dog. Yeah.
Very nice dog.
Yeah, nice dog. Very nice
dog. Got coming here 6:28. Original race wanted to be against Trap 6, but different race now with the 2 reserves. With the 2 reserves now, got a great draw, but no early. Will stay wide. Place bet looks a bet. Let's have a look at its times. 24, 45, 55, 56, 43, 33, 57. Yeah, I mean that's the sort of time that would put it in the places in a race like this, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. I think if I was going to play in this race, and I might end up playing, I'd probably, as I say, play around the bottom.
Do we think there's a forecast or a tricast bet to be had? Maybe 1 and 6.
I'd go 1-2 myself. I think that the 2 early pace high grades, more. It may lead, I don't think it'll lead, but I think it'll be thereabouts at the bend and probably stick on well enough over 400 to stay behind whatever's turned in front.
The 2 dog.
I'll go 1-2 for forecast.
Okay.
Yeah. My little worry was that now, because T-Boy Jet normally runs from red. I think I watched him from 2 as well. I went back and watched him because I knew obviously he was in 3 here. Generally, he runs out of red. Even when he's had, I think his recent opens at Romford, he's luckily been drawn red. I don't think he'll go massively to the rose, but he'll definitely edge in. And although he's generally sort of a misbreak, moderate away dog, it's one of those where sometimes you get drawn middle, you might flash out, and then all of a sudden you might lean into 2 and 1 to a certain extent. I think I just saw on the text there, I think someone said he's not a forlorn hope by any means, T-Boy Jet, especially if he breaks, which I don't think is a terrible shout either. So.
Local knowledge, yeah. PM, is that the chap from Northern Ireland? 6:28, Trap 2, well-bred dog, consistent early and at 26 kilo, lean enough to ping out and cut the bends.
Well, it's a bit show that's naturally quite light. Did lead in A2 last time or more and got picked up fairly early, but it's not a bad time. And like you say, it's one of those races, whatever goes round in front at the bend, which could be any of them. It's quite an open race. Would probably go on and win. So I wouldn't put anyone off. And he's on the drift though. Yeah,
2 looked like it's just not getting one more for it when it was getting picked up. The races I watched. So you think this distance will suit?
The shorter distance should suit. Yeah.
Are we doing the naps and next bests?
Yes, we are. Go for it.
Cool. I forgot that. The nap. It just reminded me actually. It's mine's 6:58. Bang on Mandy, a Lee Field dog from Monmore. Big price, 13-2 with Bresbet. Just think it's got the draw, got the early. He's been leading at 480 A1s and opens and D1 sprints around one more, and dropped into a Romford maiden over 400 with 3 railers on the inside. And I thought 13-2 was massive. I thought I'd avoid a favourite as a nap, so 13-2 shot. Bang on Mandy for me.
That's very bold. I like it. Bold and aggressive. What's your nap, Kenny? You've gone quiet. You've muted yourself.
Bollocks! I do that all the time at work. But yeah, I'm kind of the same. I've looked for something a bigger price, but I think that Black Girl Sheck looks decent. It's a youngest, coming up for 2, I think. But it seems like things are clicking. It's got a tough race, but I do think if it gets clear at all, it might just hang on. I think it was 60s earlier on. So I've looked for something for a bigger price.
PL?
The kind of biggest bet I think I've had tonight is Iams Alexi. I played in that race. I backed race 10, 8, 54. Backed Iams Alexi, and I've also backed Droopy's Barry. 130 and 9-2. I just thought it was a bit of value. I made them first and second in, and thought that Iams Alexi could probably dominate here. And I know she's a bit quirky, and she's probably one of those that can throw her head up every now and again. But I just thought it was great that Mark's kind of switched her about a little bit. She knows Romford. She's that sort of type of greyhound that can flash out, and when she dominates, she's really tough to pass. So, yeah, that was my nap. Iams Alexi and a little bit on Droopy's Barry as well.
Very good.
It's quite strong in that race.
Boring one for me. Call of Anianti.
Yeah.
Just a very, very classy dog. Be backing that odds against 13.64 sectional, 35.25 trial. That's top class. To be doing 28.52 round Newcastle and be running 6 bends and doing that kind of time. Very, very classy dog. So that one is, whilst dull, my nap.
Fancied that as well, but I didn't want to be dull. But it's like clockwork, isn't it? Newcastle, it just seems to be very consistent.
Yeah, it is. It's a good yardstick of a dog, a good time at Newcastle. Going behind at Romford. You having a go at a commentary tonight, George, or are we leaving that to professional?
I can give it a go if you want. I can't promise to be any good.
Fantastic effort.
I've got to get to say the names though. Oh, hang on. There's reserves in this race. Let me try and get the right names up.
There's the five's a mouthful if that gets heavily involved.
I'll just call it Jezebel. Right. Okay. Flag's been waved. Hare on the move. 6:28 Romford, 400 metre maiden. Favourite Corin Logan in trap 1. Racing, and it's a good start from 1. Corin Logan comes out 2 lengths clear in front of 5 Jezebel as they come around the first bend, and 1 is scooted 3-4 lengths clear. 5's turned second, then 6, that is award winner who will plug on for a place hopefully, but 1 has gone 4, 5, 6 lengths clear. The 5-4 favourite coming round the last bend. 5 Jezebel trying to catch it, but to no avail. 1's gone well clear. It's 1, 5, 6, and the rest are in behind. Final finish. 1, I think, beat 5 and 6 for the TriCast. I mean, it wasn't too complicated, to be fair. A race which was
that was a really good effort, wasn't it? Really good effort.
That was a hell of a run.
That might be as well. One of those where you kind of keep watching this dog at Crayford, showing speed, getting probably involved a little bit and running off and all that. But that was poetry in motion. I mean, really, really impressed with that. Well done to trainer Dave Lee and owner Tom Mumford.
Yeah, good run by the 5 in behind as well.
Did you get the forecast, Tom?
1 and 5, that was what I fancied. No, it was 1 and 6.
1 and 6, I did, yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's always a sign of a good Romford dog when they're not just in front of the bend being on the inside, they're lengths clear. That's
cool, yeah. Jeez. That was impressive, really impressive.
I'll be interested to see the time on that. That must be...
Any guesses?
24:10.
He looked a quick dog at Crave. He just looked a quick dog, but he kept making mistakes all the time. But he
was always in 3 and then checking up in behind dogs and then pacing up, and he was doing it from behind as well. And the 5 and the 6, as we said, they're not front runners. They'll be plugging on and doing 24-30s from there. So I'd say that's close to 24.
Yeah, good run.
Mm. That was actually my nap when I first did the card, but it's been put off through the
dropping that in
We
now.
can't have that one.
terrible after timing.
I'll wait for a 20-1 winner later. I'm like, oh yeah, that was I was going to do that.
Dylan Fitzsimmons 23.97. I don't know if that's a guess or that's been flashed up yet, but that is a very good run if it is.
And was 5 definitely second?
I looked it. And the result,
It's hard to tell with that camera.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I suppose we can't forget as well, this is a competition. Qualification is the name of the game, not necessarily winning. There's been... It's not as strong a competition as I thought it would be, the maiden. Because there are some very, very good A1 dogs, and there's not as many in this as I thought there would be.
And what's the prize money for the winner? Do we know?
$3 grand.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's decent.
Good money.
Very good. Yeah. I think it's good that they've said you have to have 6 runs. To 6 runs in graded or without winning an open to get into it, because it stops the usual high A1 Shelbourne dog, open Shelbourne dog comes over, does 3 trials, enters and just miles ahead of anything. I think it's a reasonably
the dog that
level
Seamus had last week, wasn't it? The won the 400 maiden. Ran against Zari Rosie, Drahan Jet.
That's it.
That sort of dog that ran against Dear Jet Sydney and all those. So it stops that. So it's a good little constraint.
Absolutely.
Any nerves here, Tom, with the Court and Steel coming up?
It's always nervy having a dog in a race.
Is it you as well, Kenny? Both of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. I watched the that run, that A2 run, 370 split, like it was shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
I mean, I for my selfish FA Cup head on, I want to say I don't fancy one of those, but being on the show with you both, I won't mind it.
We've been drawn against each other. Do you want to give a bit of background to Court and Steel, Kenny? You're on mute again.
Yeah, I'm going to stop taking myself off mute. The dog's the only mic back. Yeah, just if you check the breeder, we got it from Brian Kennedy, who we've done business with a few times, and obviously great breeder out of Clara Lizzie. No real, don't have to really talk about what she's done breeding, but yeah, we got him, and it was just, I think there was a bit of frustration anyway about having dogs in the UK, to be honest. Tom and I thought, well, we'd get a dog to run over in Ireland for a while. Got my old man involved. Got Brian's kind of involved, and it was a great fun over in Ireland. And I mean, I don't know if having dogs in Ireland, it's a different game over there, like different tracks every week. It keeps it interesting, but then we quickly realised that poor little Steel wasn't quite making it across the 480. So I had a chat, so we'll bring him over. He should be perfect for Romford. He'd done some decent times over in Ireland, but we just knew he was never staying as well as we hoped. But yeah, there's
no real graded sprint in Ireland, bar a few tracks.
I mean, that's the only downside I'd say is there's not enough variety in Ireland. Like when you think about even if you've got a 6-bent dog or a sprinter or whatever it may be. I mean, that is really one of the only things I can say that's a negative to having a dog over there. But yeah, it's worked out well. He's taken to Romford really well. Nathan's done an amazing job with him. Been great having a first dog with Nathan. Also, we've had dogs with Carol and Darren and stuff. But this has been he's done well. Nice to have a dog back at Romford. But this comp came along, I think, just at the right time for us. he was just finding his feet. Obviously, that break that he done, if he could do that again, then he's got a chance in any race, really. But
they've pushed out to 9-2. How could they do this to me? I said I wasn't going to do this tonight.
I said last week, you've got your thing, Tom. That's right.
For those watching on YouTube, it would be very much appreciated if you could subscribe. Just want to get to the magic 1,000 subscribers. You should get a notification when we go live as well. Save you checking on Twitter. So how do you see this race, PL?
Well, I mean, your dog really has got every chance if he comes out the boxes and does the 370. I mean, you know, he can start, and when he starts and when he gets on the front, he is a quick dog. You know, the run on the 16th of December was a decent effort. I don't know, it's an A2, but although Zari Rosie was when you look at the cold light of day, second beaten 2.5 to Dry and Jet, it's a good run, but you've still got to do it kind of from 2 as opposed to having the red hole last week with a vacant trap in 2. And Tennessee Whiskey would definitely go inside and is a decent enough trapper herself. So I don't think Zari Rose has got a great draw at all, me. And again, I was either thinking about, well, I might have a little bit on 1, or I might just take a chance and frame up Bryn for Coco. Is more of a little bit of a chasey type. Actually, I had a couple out the litter, the Higher Butt Roxhome Hottie litter. The dog actually passed away. He went for an operation and he died. But the sister's still running at Nottingham. Bit quirky, but wins every now and again. So that could be a way of. But I thought Zari Rosie at evens 5-4 was way too short, me.
Yeah, it's favourite for the competition. Quite sure. I mean, Steele is. He comes first or last. He's one of those dogs. He has to break.
But I think he's got a bearing though, Tom. He's got a bearing on Zari Rosie here. Do you know what I mean? Because he's quick enough to get in away, isn't he? That's the thing.
PM one I just flashed up. Cool 10 still runs the rail, second to none round Romford, trap 1 worth a bet. I hope you're right.
That has been. I mean, we actually had a few lads in the north trying to buy him from Dundalk, I think, when we had them all run over in Ireland, which probably would have suited there as well. But
yeah. Couple of times. Cheeks 24.28, Logan 23.97. So based on Cheeks time, probably not a super fast track.
What was their time?
Cheeks 24.28, Logan 23.97. So George, I drew against you in the Romford FA Cup. You went on Zari Rosie. What's the basis of your pick?
Yeah, George, an interesting one because you say it's a maiden competition. Why they run it last week in an open race?
Yeah, there was a few last week. I was astonished.
Like the dog who came behind Drahan Jet, is it? That's just not eligible. It's a 23.99 dog. I don't know why they wouldn't just wait a week. But yeah it looked the Yarmouth times and sectionals and obviously impressive. I knew it would be favourite. It wouldn't be a bet, particularly now at odds on. I think it is. But as my FA Cup pick, I will go for it. I think if they come out level, looking at those sectionals and lead run-up comments at Yarmouth, although it's a much longer run-up, would have a bit of toe, and 24.19 and behind suggests that it's, if it turned handy, would still post a decent time. I would give a shout out to the 4. I wouldn't say 400 would be exactly what it's looking for, but has already run in the Puppy Classic and the Oaks, and is now in a 400 maiden at Romford. So is an interesting runner, but would probably be plugging on for place money or picking up the pieces in a messy race, but certainly want to keep an eye on. But yeah, 2 for me.
Few quid coming in for Corten still. 7-2 with Bresbet, 3-1 on the boards. Zari Rose 11-10 with Bresbet, 10-11 on the boards. Tennessee Whiskey 12 on the boards, 25 with Bresbet. Luna Jezebel 5, 6-1 with Bresbet. Best of all time, 8-1, 6 on the boards. Fair play, thank you. Betting to a decent percentage. I've never really enjoyed watching my own dog run in a race.
Horrible.
I get nervous until it starts, and then they trap. And if they haven't trapped, you're gutted. Or if they have trapped, you're worried. And they go into the first bend, and I'm worried they'll get knocked over and hurt themselves. And then if they're leading, I'm absolutely terrified they'll get caught. If they're behind, I'm willing them on, but I know they've probably lost. And then at the end of the race, it's just relief. It's over. It's torture owning a dog.
You're doing the commentary for this one as well, yeah?
I'll
could just be your voice.
just want to qualify. It'd be lovely to get the prize, but just qualifying will be fine. And I've not put so much on that I have to go and sit on the sofa of shame if it gets beaten. So it's okay. How many dogs have you got at the moment, George?
We've just got a few now. All ones we've bred ourselves. Lights Out, probably the best of those. Also Boca Junior, who's in the blue ribbons, albeit a big old price for this weekend's second round. And then one called Houston Maine, who's won a couple of sprints at Swindon recently. Yeah, because we do the breeding, we don't buy as many anymore. Get a lot of joy out of breeding them, and we've got a litter coming through at the moment. Droopy Sydney and Sign at Storm, who is Sign at Ace's litter sister. So fingers crossed we get some decent ones out of there. But our last litter, the Lights Out litter, we've had a lot of luck. I think it's near 30 open race wins from the litter. Denmark's in there. Bitch called Liberty Bell. So no, it's quite nice. But yeah, just the 3 at the moment. We were up to like a dozen at one point a couple of years ago. So 3's far easier to manage.
And is that British bred, George?
British bred, yeah. So we do it ourselves, me and my granddad, over at his place in Hartbury, Gloucestershire. And we school them ourselves, whelp them down and school them everything, and then they go to Kev Hutton's. Yeah,
fair play.
Oh, that's brilliant. Because I know that Kevin uses John Mullins quite a lot to rear his dogs, doesn't he?
He does, yeah, he does. But we just do our own.
You're doing yourself, Brett.
Just
Fair play to you.
For our
well
own,
done. Yeah, good shout. Good.
So when there was a few question marks over Lights Out, I say, well, she just like the breeders.
Yeah. No, well, she's quick. That's the main thing.
That's the main thing. Yeah, she's a pleasure to own. She is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, yeah, we've done all right so far. So we obviously won the Brighton Bell last month, which is like watching your kid win at Sports Day. So it was great.
I'm glad you enjoy it more than Tom.
I do enjoy it, but
I'm enjoying it now because she's not running. If she was running, I'd be silent and I'd be just watching her on parade. And yeah. No, I don't envy you.
John Ramsey pissing myself at Tom there. Can't enjoy his own dog racing. Human negative bias and full fight. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So you've got no financial interest then, Tom? No.
I've had a bullseye on Quarter 92.
Yeah. Fair play. Fair play to you.
Steve,
I'll frame the 6 up here. Just had a little small forecast 6.
Right, take it away, PL.
Well, she's waved the flag anyway. Favourites in 2 here. Zari Rosie. All eyes on red for Tom Corton Steele.
And Kenny.
Approaches. Lids up. Off and racing, and one stumbled out the boxes. 5 has flashed out. Best of all time leads into the turn ahead of Zari Rosie, who's turned in second. Then on the outside comes Brinoff Coco and Tennessee Whiskey up on the inner, making inroads is Luna Jezebel down the back. But it's 2 that's dropped up on the inside. Just forced a check there at the third turn. It's still best of all time for Jean Lyles that's kicked on again, a length clear from Zari Rosie up towards the line, tight. But I think 5 may just have held on from 2. With, was it 4 flashing home? Yeah, it was. Luna Jezebel. Good effort there from best of all time.
Yeah, it was. I said first or last for our runner. I wasn't wrong.
Yeah, he just came out on his nose, didn't he?
Came out sideways.
Stumbled completely, yeah. He was on his down his front bollocks.
And then bumped the rails at the first turn as well. Has he been has he been tough to keep sound, Tom?
Fairly, yeah.
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 It's I've never been one to go for the early pace dogs because the strong runners, you always get a race out of them. Even
Yeah.
if they miss the kick, they can qualify through competitions. If you're relying on a dog for its early pace only, unless it's consistent, you've got a bit of a one-trick pony, and it's very hard to get them through competitions and winning consistently.
Sorry, I didn't mention the FA Cup there as well. That was obviously Zari
It's
Rosie
just
there
a triple whammy there for me. Out of the Romford
Yeah.
FA Cup, dog gets beaten, losing bet. But
Yeah.
that's okay. We love this game.
Yeah.
Do we know what the result was there, or are we still waiting on it?
We are
I
still
thought it was
waiting. If anyone
5-2 for me,
knows and
but
can
yeah.
pop it up
Yeah.
in the chat, that would be good.
It
I mean,
looked
the
like
fives
a
run a
5-2.
very good race there, considering the two last time on 24-19 from behind has probably stepped its game up there.
Yeah, another one that's
Yeah,
probably a
5-1.
little bit hit and miss, but got a decent bit of early when she does start. Yeah. That was confirmed, was it, Tom? 5-2-4?
Yep.
Yeah.
6-1 the 5. I was going to nap it, but I just changed my mind.
Oh, brilliant.
Right, I'm going to go and get a beer and sulk for a minute. I'll leave you chaps to it for a minute.
Oh, yes, okay.
So
And has
is your-
anyone looked at Central Park at all?
Not at all, no. I just tend to follow the money at Central Park. I've got no idea, to be honest. No, I haven't looked. Have you?
No, a pal of mine, he gives me a few marks. We were on last week in the first show, and he gave us a dog, and as Eddie Goodall said, it won a Tateyfield. It walked out the boxes, flew. He was a bit worried about it staying because it would switch from the sprints to the four bends. He just went a furlong clear and stayed there. So
you do get a lot of those at you do get a lot of those at Central. They step up and boot clear. It's quite. I do like the track for.
Yeah,
I think it's a very fair track, isn't it?
it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and you're right. And Kevin goes there quite a lot, doesn't he? On Sunday nights with the Opens.
He did, yeah, not as much anymore, but
Doesn't no.
Well, yeah, I think he's got Monmore and Toasters
Yeah,
on a Sunday as well.
Yeah,
It's a full open card usually.
yeah.
John, is the magic of the FA Cup disappearing, lads? In years gone by, George would have been punching the air at lid rise, and Tom would be seen kneeing himself in the chin. Too much restraint shown. I tried to keep it respectful, John, but you should have seen my fist pumping under the table. Come
on. That's what you're doing under the table. I've got a gun beer opener there, so if it all comes to it.
I'll get grab a beer as well, Tom. Back in a minute.
Kenny has muted himself, unlike Watty last week, who went off at one point and made a cocktail next to his microphone.
Yeah.
Sounded like he was just bashing some bins or something. Tom currently smashing up the kitchen. The kitchen is intact for him. We've held it together. Always enjoy the comments in the chat. I'll put up as many as I can. Are you an avid Friday night viewer these days, George?
Do you know what? Not as much. Not as much. If it's a good card, like tonight's a good card actually, but probably past few weeks and months, certainly there's not so many of the Romford, the favourites. You know, they used to always have those dogs who'd go out every week and get some really competitive races. Not as much recently. If I've got a free Friday, I'll certainly sort of dip in and out for the big races.
Any old favourites from Romford? Who do you like watching?
Steve's Dream was a great one. He'd always be out in front. Woody last home. He's just every time you got to the line, you're craning your neck to see if did he get there or not.
He did chin Early Impact one night in a 5.75. I think it was a 6-ben maiden, and Early was lead. I think it might have been a Sky Night, and it was the first race of the night before it went live. And there was quite a few people there, and Early led by quite a long way, and I was just absolutely giving it the big I am on the terraces on mine, arms aloft, oi, oi, fucking oi, oi, and just got chinned on the line, and just dozens of people turning around to me like, you absolute wanker.
Yeah,
Someone's just put in a little bit of a football twist. Obviously, they know I'm from Boston in Lincolnshire, and I'm betting for the new Boston manager. They sacked Craig Elliott the other day, but I don't think they've announced anyone. I'm quite pally with one of the directors there, Chris Cook. He was a lad I used to go to school with, so always kind of keep in touch. And every now and again, me and Lorraine will go back to my hometown. So no, I don't know who's going to be the new manager. I went there. I think it was the beginning of the season, and they didn't play well at all. And the setup of the team looked all wrong, actually. But oh yeah, Joe Keneally's just said, "Give me the job, Pio." They're doing really well with Hinckley, Joe and Courtney, and Joe's brother Ryan as well. I went to see them again earlier in the season. They played at Grantham Way, and me and Lorraine went up there and met the lads, watched the game, and met the lads in the bar after. It's really good crack, actually. And they're a really good side. They're doing really, really well. I think I'm correct in saying they're top of the league at the moment. So fair play to Joe, who's done really well.
Yeah, absolutely. You work in sport, don't you, George?
Sports travel, yeah. Although not football, more rugby, that kind of job. So yeah, no, unfortunately, no inside track from me. No.
As in supporters or players?
Supporter tours, but we also do all the travel for the England men's team and referees and youth squads and everything like that. Yeah, so
I bet some people have done some terrible things on those.
I mean, probably not the forum to discuss.
Pass.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll move on.
Leading question to him.
Yeah, moving on. Steve Upton, Adagio Bob, the other obvious Romford favourite, Tom, absolutely. Head It On Tom, that was the dog for me. Loved Head It On Tom. Sadly, I think he passed away a couple of weeks ago. I saw on Facebook. But he must have been a good age.
Did you own any Romford machines, Tom? Any 400 575 specialists?
No. It's hard to find a good Romford dog. You've got to buy some of the early pace, and early pace has always come with quite a hefty price tag.
We had quite a few years ago. Ibiza Rocks, and then Prize Fighter. I think he won about 6 on the bounce over 400. And that was when it was those were the days when but they'd price up early doors and you'd be rushing about trying to get on and being barred from shops. But yeah, no, like I said, in recent months, and it's not as competitive. And obviously, with our home breeding now, we kind of see what we get really. I mean, we'll be sticking lights out around Romford unless it's 750. So.
John Ramsey, we actually bought a dog for the Twitter syndicate off the back of Steve's Dream and called it Seed's Dream. Unfortunately, Seed's ran the full 400 metres at the same speed that Steve's ran its last 5 metres.
Wasn't Seed's Dream a Greyhound cross Alsatian? I think it was. At Crayford, the Afghan races, one of those. Just
yeah. What was that Afghan that won every single race? You could set your... What was it called? I can't remember. If anyone knows, put it in the chat. Yeah. It was an unreal hound. I think it would have won a Crayford A11.
I think I go with a Crayford A11.
Right, how long we got to the next? Got a few minutes, haven't we? 5 minutes. Let's have a chat. Right, I'll pop it up on the screen.
Are you nappers as well here, Kenny?
Yeah, I just for the price, I thought Sheck was big. I know Beepers is good dog as well, but I mean, if Sheck can get a break and there's any sort of trouble that it can get round, then I think it's for a big price.
The 6 stays wide enough, isn't it? It's good early, but it stays 4 wide off of every bend. So if you nick up the inside of it, I just thought I didn't fancy any of the inside 3, and it's similar to you between 4 and 5, which hopefully one of them could well, I hope mine poaches the lead and goes round. But yeah, on that basis, I thought both are too big. But I went for the 4 based because it was just on the inside. They go up together. Hopefully, nip around.
And as for how to look round Romford,
do you know what? It had a trial. So I had a race last April and was third to the bend, bumped ran off and brought down, and then went back to Monmore. So obviously that didn't go very well. It was bumped run up and still third to the bend. In looking at the sectionals, looked a very competitive race. So probably did show a bit of early there. That was long enough to go to suggest that may not run it as well as it could, but yeah, just on the Monmore form, I just thought, leading FA1s, leading D1s and open races, take a chance. Are you a fan of dogs going to Romford without a look?
No, I wouldn't be. But they
do win.
They do win. Yeah, there's a few variables that I look at is probably that, like having got experience. I mean, I think it'd take Steele probably 3 runs just to get used to running there, and then.
PM, who's on here, has a theory about big dogs at Romford. He doesn't like anything much over 30 kilograms because he thinks that when they get to the first bend at full pace, they just keep going in a straight line instead of turning left.
Yeah, try telling that to Barry Draper when he had Eden Star around there.
Well, yeah. Yeah, what was that? 38 kilograms, Eden Star.
Massive dog.
Yeah, huge dog.
Absolute aeroplane. And that was what I was going to say earlier on. Obviously, Barry had 2 in the same race, and obviously he's got a bit of sickness or whatever, pulled them out. But I thought they were the 2 dogs, and he's got a canny knack. Again, there's a lot of trainers who just got a canny knack of knowing where dogs will be suited. If you think, there's a lot of Hove trainers that go to Romford's, Sheffield with Barry. They seem to know how to place their dogs well, and he was just an awesome Greyhound, Eden Star. Awesome. Remember, I know I was there when he was doing it as well, which made it even better.
You did see that. They just know about, they know a dog that well. They just know exactly where it'll run. And,
I mean, listen, I know what you're saying about Romford being a bit tricky track and all that, but I don't really buy into the theory that a big dog can't act around there. I think it's just certain dogs can. Certain dogs can.
So this race, any strong fancies are in behind 5. Yeah, for me, the 5 is a bet in this. It's a 2-dog race. I think the 5 could hold the 6 up.
I've napped the 4
short there.
Yeah, I didn't know, George, whether Bang on Mandy might be one of those that really wants to be on her own and doesn't want any company. Like she might just swallow when she's got dogs alongside her. But
I'm hoping she goes 3 clear.
Exactly. Yeah,
it'll be one of those. But at the price,
she certainly has got good early when she breaks. So I get that.
Yeah, I thought on the draw as well potentially. I didn't want to go for a favourite. I mean, out to 11-2. I mean, it's the same principle with the 5, a backable price. Like we said, Romford trying to pick out the one who's going to get round in front. Take your chance.
Yeah.
Both of us went looking for a price and managed to end up in the same race.
The favourite win now.
Bit of a drifter in the market as well. The Sean Davey dog in 2.
There's lots early on the 4.
And away and racing.
Away, 5 won't be winning from there.
Beepers Hyacinth from up on the inner, Bang on Mandy. Trouble in behind for the inside trio. And it is 6, Beepers Hyacinth on the outside for local handler David Mullins that goes 2 lengths clear from Bang on Mandy, who's a clear second. Then a gap back to Lesson in Life in third. They turn for the judge. It's Beepers Hyacinth. She's going to bloom on the outside and she's going to win tidily in the end. 6 has beaten 4 and 1.
Good run.
Yeah.
No complaints. Each way. No, I did exactly what I thought and cleared the inside, but the 6 has come away and Romford runs around every week, stays wide and runs it very well, stays out of bother. And again, it was never going to pick it up, but pleased enough. Got the run for the money.
To be fair, I think Beepers Hyacinth has really raced the bend there, George, because you were right. You Bang on Mandy had every chance around the first 2, but probably that local knowledge just helped her a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, in terms of she certainly cleared the rest of the field. I was taking a chance on the 5, holding up the 6, but yeah, the 6 is a real nice yardstick around the track and wins every other week, I think. So can't complain.
No, absolutely. Okay. A few on the Afghans. It was Aussie, of course, the giant Afghan. Was it Aussie? Yes. Steve Upton. Remember backing Aussie at Hove, won by about 30 lampposts. One of the Afghans jumped into the middle at the pickup first time round, and one was eating grass. Did they race Jaguars around Romford in the 60s or 70s?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Some
Was it
big
Jag-
cat.
Yeah.
And they were quite good, but they were clever. And after about the second time of doing it, they realised that there was a shorter route to get to the end and would just jump over the barrier. Imagine that now, people just letting wild cats loose around a circuit.
Seen a few cougars at Romford, but I don't know.
Eddie Goodall said that he thought El Hombre back in the day was a standing dish at 575. He was about a 36 kilo dog.
Yeah.
And John Ramsey said that he agrees with me that if you get a big early pace railer down around there, it was 34 kilos. He thought Dow Matt was that sort of weight as well, and he used to win every week. So I think it's just, again, whether you can get the dog to be suited. And sometimes you don't know until you've tried. That's the thing. So,
yeah.
But I say there are certain trainers, I think, that have got a really good knack of knowing where to place their dogs, and they're the successful ones. So.
PM, who's passionate about this subject. Male dog's 33 kilo, perfect for Romford. That's a sweet weight to be at. Versus 35 kilos, have the railway line, rails mainly. Harry L, we had one at Crayford, 37 kilo, chicken balls.
I bred that one, chicken ball.
Did you really?
Sonny Bill, yeah. He is absolutely mental. He used to jump. You should jump in the kennels about 10 feet in the air, nearly get over the top of them. And we had to put some put a tarpaulin in so he couldn't jump up. Did it at Kev's, and then went to Jim Reynolds in Crayford, and he did exactly the same. He was a big 37 kilo dog, slow away, early pace from trap one, and he'd just rush up to the bend, and then anything that was outside him, he'd just smash it out the way, go around the inside and win, or we wouldn't get there in time and smash whatever was in behind out of the way. Either way, something was getting smashed. But he was a lovely dog, yeah.
Terry Saunders, got told by a mate about your channel. Loving it, guys. Keep up the banter. Thank you. We're not drunk yet, so the banter will only improve as the night goes on.
No promises.
As is it? It's like when you go to the pub, your mate starts quite quiet, and then by 9-10 o'clock, reckless.
It was a bit noisy in the last race when I was doing the commentary last week.
I still can't quite bring myself to rewatch all of that.
No.
Traumatic. I don't think I've recovered from that all week.
Have you got your get out of trouble dog yet, Tom? Have you found something in the last two races that you're going to smash into?
Not again. Not again. Can't be doing that every week.
Same culprit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I am a sucker for punishment.
Yeah. He definitely tightened up, didn't he, coming home?
Yeah.
And I went back and looked at the theory of, was it a late race? He doesn't like the late race, but he's won in race 12 before. But
let's have a look at the next one. So
maybe he's just getting old like the rest of us.
7:18. I think this is quite an interesting match bet, and would welcome your thoughts on it.
This is the next round of the FA Cup, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It is John versus Harry Hale. It's an interesting race. The one doesn't look like it really is massively suited to Romford, but shows great gears down the back at Hove, and in a race where the two who usually last at the bend at Yarmouth may leave the door open, and a dog in 3 who's been running out of 5 and potentially could leave the door open if one got a run would be a player. I thought 6 would have to take a flyer to clear this lot.
What do you think, Paul?
I have backed Lilotti Lex at 11-4 earlier on.
Okay.
Might actually be a bit kind of chasey to a certain extent, and might be a little bit of a thinker, but I don't mind that because generally those sort of dogs have got speed, and this dog's definitely got speed. He's not always the best of breakers, and actually I've got him wanting to be in sort of lane 3.5. He might edge off a little bit from 3. He's been running from 5 and moving in a little bit. So I've got Cold Blow probably wanted to move edging a little bit. Where's Lily probably wanted to edge off a little bit. Finally, Tiger's generally slow away. Chop Flash has got a bit, bit of late.
Yeah,
runs on quite nicely.
It wouldn't be a surprise to see Chop Flash win this race.
No, definitely got half a chance. Yeah, I made that some kind of runner, but I've just got in my head that if I can get any start out, I don't think this race will take a lot of leading, Tom. So I thought if I can get any start out of Lilotti Lex, I thought I think his Achilles heel is his starting. But if he gets any kind of break, I think his early will take him to the front. If he gets on the rabbit straight away, I don't think you see which way he went. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I actually had a little bit on Flash earlier at 4, but I think it's won its last twice at track 5. It's got decent section. I think if it gets any kind of run, then it's going to be a shout. So yeah, don't think it's for me that I thought 41 was a big price.
A 377 sectional that should lead up in this. I quite like Ritzy Rapid. That 24.43, that was after racing on Tuesday. It had poured with rain. I don't think there's any way that was going. I think that was a 24.13 type run. And being in that out wide position, I think that's going to give it a pretty decent chance, even if it gets led.
Yeah, I made that the big danger. I made it 2 runners. I just thought 3 was a slightly bigger price. So I'd have back 3.
I think this is a forecast bet.
Save on 6. Well, I suppose they could go together. Yeah, I mean, Chop Flash is a dog that's going to run on. That might get placed up somehow, but I thought would definitely sort of favour moving in a little bit. So it's going to give Ritzy Rapid reasonable room to operate. But again, a lot of what, I'm not saying anything new here. A lot of what Romford's all about is on the start. And for me, if I can get any kind of break out of Lilotti Lex, I think he's just guaranteed to lead. And that in my eyes should be good enough. Because I think George is right. Where's Lily? He's one of those that's not really got a lot of early, but flies down the back. But the race could be over by the time Where's Lily gets into top gear going to the 3rd. But again, if Where's Lily comes out the boxes and claims the rails, then I could be in trouble if Free misses it. So a lot of this is going to be on the start. But as I say, I favoured 3, just slightly favoured 3 over 6. And I bet 3 because I didn't think 3 would the 11-4 3-1 would last. So maybe I'm wrong because looking at Betfair, it's going to be about that anyway. So.
Where's Lily Ritzy Rapid evens and 8-11. PM Trap 3 Lex beats the very sharp Wee Sydney by 4+ lengths. Easier draw in 3 than out wide. It's a bet for me as well. Another one of classic Romford dogs. 5-star Clipper was some dog round Romford. Absolutely was. Very consistent over the bend. Ben Green, Ernie Gaskin Sr. used to buy a lot of dogs for us. He used to say dogs that run tight tracks well can change their stride. You think this was bollocks? So they switched dogs from big tracks to Mulligan. Second part, they all change leg stride at first bend. Of course, Airport Captain didn't do bad for Romford 575. That was. I was there that night. Did it break the track record?
I think it did. Yeah, held it for a while.
Yeah.
34.68, I think it was.
Yeah, which was just getting near 35 was a hell of a run in those days. 35.50 was a great run.
Yeah, good dog. What about the match bet here? Who are the two lads involved here?
We've got John Ramsey, and Harry Hale. John's on the 1, Harry's on the 6.
Yeah.
Do you know who got first pick?
Hmm?
Do you know who got the first pick?
Do you know what? I think it was John. He was very first out, wasn't he? He was.
was.
He did the draw, and he was first out with a nice home tie. So if this wins, there'll be a stewards' inquiry. But
then we see his dance before the draw. It's quite epic.
Well, hopefully we'll see if this beats the 6. Hopefully we'll see another one.
On the opening show for the match bet, it was 5-4 against Red and take 7-4 Ritchie Rapid, and now it looks like they've gone the other way. So where's Lily is now 4-5 and Ritchie Rapid is now 10-11. So they've flip flopped.
I just think the 6 with the early of 3 and 5, it doesn't look like it wants to be in behind. Really, the 6. I mean, it's quick enough if turning second or third, but it takes a knock sideways. And as we said, the 1's got pace. I'd have them fairly close. I wouldn't be having them at sort of. I think maybe 5-6-4. I think it was earlier the 1 in the match.
Interesting that. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's, but it just takes one of them to not break. If 5 doesn't break, 6 is gone.
But
it's intriguing race
to start, can't it, Tom? That's the thing as well. So
it can. It absolutely can.
Beeper's hyacinth 24:35. So Corin Logan just under 40 spots quicker than that, which is some going. Best of all time 24:16, holding off Zari Rosie. So again, boost the form.
Yeah, that's some run, isn't it? Breaking 24 if the rest aren't getting close.
367 sectional.
Jesus.
Wow, 367.
I'm trying to think if there was a couple of dogs over 400 who used to do a 3, like in the 50 splits every time. And
that was on the other side, though.
Yeah. I mean, it was still some going on the other side, to be fair, but there were some that would just, but not get in.
You having a bet here, Tom?
No, I'm not. I fancy the 1, the 3, and the 5 and the 6 here. So you wait till 2 and 4
forecast.
Up in the forecast. Maybe we should have that as the forecast, just because that's almost inevitable. But I think this is a really tricky race between dogs that stay a bit, dogs that start a bit. It's a puzzler, this one.
Yeah, I just haven't seen the price for Flash. I just thought, well, at that price, I'll give it a shot. But yeah, it is tricky. What's what he's saying? Romford John first out the draw. FA Cup has been his AFCON.
You got splinters in your arse from the fence sitting, Tom. Thank you very much. George had a nice little bitch that ran Romford well, if I recall correctly. Office Flirt. I remember Office Flirt.
We had a few, as well as 400, we had a couple of 575 ones as well. Office Flirt used to go and win first time up at any track. She won on day first time at Romford 575. The best we had was Willie White Sox, who did a 34.99 first look round there, which was. I think that was a degenerates night out as well around December. John was there. I remember I stood next to Tony Bull and he said he wouldn't stay and did a 34.99. So never let him forget it.
You used to have some good nights at Romford.
Yeah.
Have you been since they've changed sites?
Yeah, we went on the opening night, didn't we, Kenny?
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
It's not as good.
No, it's difficult to. You can't.
It's similar to Crayford.
Run down to the traps to get the bet on, then run back up to get a spot.
Exactly.
Bigger stand.
I mean, it's still decent for dog tracks in the UK, but it's just still not the same. Used to be on the other side was great fun.
Yeah, it's too low. You're too
Yeah.
low on the terraces compared to the track. On that side, the track's a lot higher and the stands a lot lower.
Yeah.
And where the bookies are basically by the traps, you can't really see the winning line.
Yeah. You can't really get many. You can't really stand that. They can't get that many people down outside when you're watching compared to the other side.
What do you guys think the best viewing track in the country is?
Probably Toaster. People don't like it, but you've got a big stand there, a massive screen in the middle. It's hard to avoid. Go inside the screen showing it. It's hard to, some people have got different opinions, but in terms of a spectator sport, I don't think you can beat it.
I would probably agree with you. What do you think, Kenny and Paul?
Sorry, Central Park?
I've not been to Central.
Yeah, it's got.
It looks a proper stand.
Yeah, do a good dinner as well actually on Sunday.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know. I like to be a bit closer than what Toaster is, but I think Newcastle's decent enough for viewing.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably Newcastle, I'd say. I get maybe I'm just I don't know, old school traditionalist, just used to being closer and so on. But I know we all have our quirks, I guess. But I think that's probably why I'd side with Newcastle.
The hardest place to watch is Sheffield because it's not steps; it's like a slope. Very tough on the calf muscles when you've had a drink.
What's that?
Very tough on the calf muscles.
Nottingham's a tough one as well.
And I was going to say that, George. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Nottingham's the same.
I think Nottingham's probably the worst viewing track in the country.
Crayford.
We used to sit in the bar upstairs next to the restaurant and just watch it on the. Well, I did. I watch it on the TV, but Lorraine always used to like going down to trackside to watch them, and yet you're doing what John just said, just on your tiptoes, trying to get a good view.
Yeah.
It's terrible,
I still can't get one.
I have to, if I've got a dog in a race, it's because I have to watch it outside. I can't watch it from behind glass in a restaurant. It's too sanitized. You want to be out there vociferously oi-oing into the night sky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not a fan of Crayford either. I like just trying to get somewhere to watch it outside and stuff, but they are what they are.
I took my now wife to Crayford on our first Valentine's Day.
And she married you.
I remember that, Tom. I do remember that.
It's the right thing to do.
I
was at Crayford for 10 years and I loved it. I really, really like Crayford.
Yeah. It's lively in the bar there.
Really friendly track. Yeah. Really good.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I had dogs there as well with Barry, and I mean, as I say, it's like really friendly stuff. But just if I had to pick how to have a dog track and have viewing and stuff, it probably wouldn't be Crayford. But like
the background is basically a big electrical substation. Right, 718 Romford.
Wrong, didn't I? With Lottie Lex, I thought 11 to 4, 3 to 1 was a good price. It's gone 7 to 2 in the machine, so I'm not that good. Anyway, good luck here.
Yeah, good luck, boys. Good luck with your bet, Paul. Lottie Lex, track 3.
1 and 6 in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And they're away and racing. And one gets a good start. Where's Lily up on the inside? Pace from Ritzy Rapid on the outside. And Ritzy Rapid will go on to lead. Trouble at the back there for Farney's Tiger. But down the far side, it's David Mullins again with Ritzy Rapid with around about a 3-4 length lead over Chop Chop Flash, who will be staying on. Then a gap back to Where's Lily as they turn for home. Ritzy Rapid is well clear. Ritzy Rapid galloping on strongly in the closing stages. Beats Chop Chop Flash. With Where's Lily back in third. It's a 6-5-1 order.
They tied each other up, didn't they, out the trap? So there's a lot of bumping coming together, and that's just swooped around the outside.
Yeah, 3 edged off, 4 edged in.
Yeah,
they were bumping away, weren't they? 3 and 4.
They get on balance when they take a bump like that. Yeah, very good run. It's run the bend very nicely there. You wouldn't want too many early pace dogs in the middle as that coming across there, but
yeah.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of good ritzy dogs about. I think this one is owned by Jim and Big Gown. a fella called Mr. Taylor. But there's plenty of good. Obviously, the one Ritzy Lady was in. Is it Ritzy Lady in the Oaks final? So yeah, the Ritzy dogs. Certainly one to keep an eye out on. They always tend to have some good Irish form.
It's Steve Taylor, isn't it? I think it's Steve. I think he's been with Jim a long while. Yeah. I wouldn't know what. So I wonder why Jim's got dogs with David. I'm not training himself. Interesting. Interesting.
John's lost there to Harry Hale. Out of your own competition in the first round. There you go.
With Bresbet, it looked like Bresbet actually opening up 4-7, got it right, and yet all the money came for the Where's Lily, and she got a good start as well, didn't she? To be fair,
they both went off 11-4, I think. So in terms of the cold light of day, the pricing was wrong, but obviously the result tells a different story. But the 6 run really well.
Yeah.
Did I was watching the 6 and the 1. Did the 5 miss the break or get a bit of bother on the run up? Or
missed the break a slight bit, but seemed to get to the first
kind of came out sideways.
Yeah, we got to the first bender right, and it just ran a decent race, I think. But just missed a kick, I think. And I didn't see 6 as a danger at the 5. I thought 5 would break ahead of the 6, but missed breaks is going to be the story of my night, I think.
Good job you're not playing snooker. Eddie Goodall, Betfair Forum, Doggy Boys, Xmas at Romford, some legendary nights there in the Goose afterwards. Heard a lot about the Betfair Forum Dog Boys nights out.
It's the go-to, isn't it, Romford, for a dog degenerates?
It is easy
gathering.
To get to.
Yeah,
26 quid stand the travel log.
The cheapest hotel I've ever stayed in.
Chop Flashball missed it. Ran well, to be fair. Ran well.
Waiting for the Romford Cup of Nations to start next week in direct competition.
That's it, yeah.
Or the Europa League equivalent. then the Conference League the week after that.
We could do African Cup of Nations style and just call the winner at the first bend.
Just do it at the sectionals. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, there's a cameraman who doesn't realise it's a 6-ven race and not a sprint, and just leaves the camera at the finish and then follows around to the pickup. And
always like that. There was a spate of bookmaker shops doing that for like Cat 1 races, 6-ben Cat 1 races, just finishing it after 2 bends. There's loads of them for about a year.
Rammer just said FA Cup shit comp.
Yeah.
Oh, stop. If it's anything like the Cheltenham shoe-off, expect a redraw for the FA Cup.
How would you describe the Cheltenham shoe-off, George?
As a former winner and ambassador for the competition, highly prestigious. Takes a certain type of gentleman to compete at such a high level.
Do you still have the shoes that you won
somewhere?
Can you go and get them? Display them for the lads?
Oh, well, they're horrible, actually. I don't know what I've seen, but I was competing against an Elvis statue from the film. Got knocked out by the Elvis statue.
He did. He got knocked out by the statue, and I think John went back to the hotel, and the other statue wasn't there. And he demanded to know where it was, and I think they took him into a storeroom to take photos of it, which is just a normal thing to do, isn't it?
Let me see if I can find
a grown man, father. Great when Dave got beat by Elvis. It really was. If someone tweets me the photo, I will display it for all to see. There was one year we went and it was pouring with rain. Cheltenham, me and Kenny went, and it was like properly pouring. And it's a long old walk from town to track, so I wore hiking boots and got called a zookeeper for the entire day.
That's right. John said zookeeper shoes on. Classic.
Brilliant.
God, it feels like been a couple of years since that hilarity, the old COVID stuff. But
it'll be back.
It will be.
I've I've got a baby due. My first child is due Cheltenham week. So if you can time it before midday on Tuesday, that would be ideal to start the old paternity leave.
My little one was born a week after Cheltenham, so last year, so we could. That's easy. It kind of fits in. Oh, nice.
I mean, the fact that those won, George.
They won. What was it, 1980?
I got called Jimmy Nail wearing these. Yeah, these are freshly caught salmon, they were called. And
Freshly caught salmon. They've changed colour a bit over the years, haven't they?
Bit of wear and tear, being in the winners enclosure so often obviously takes its toll.
Yeah.
But
I bet they've seen some terrible things that the rugby does as well. So
they're
a few contaminants on them.
Retired to stud. So,
Reggie those shoes a cross between your nan sofa and orthopedic shoes. Do you remember when John's mate when he was wearing a pair of shoes that were like 700 quid and made him look like an off-duty policeman? And he got so drunk when he went back to the hotel that he put his pie in the safe to try and warm it up. Oh dear.
Pie in the safe.
It was a Red Line pub in Sheffield. Elvis was missing. I found him in the garage out the back, and they reinstated Elvis's position in the bar next to the jukebox. That very night, he was drawn versus Dave. Oh God, I can't take this much anymore.
Yeah.
I'm still convinced that Reggie Dave account was a parody. The stuff he used to come out with, my word.
He used to just wear appalling, beaten up Reebok trainers and post.
All I know is that he was from Bolton, he was ginger, and he was a very angry man. That's all I ever know about him.
Ragey Dave
with a horrific sense of
nature.
fashion, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's coming from me who bought those. That is saying something.
My son was born on the first day of Royal Ascot 2001. Wife was in labour. Popped to Hills to put my placement on. That is a man who's got his priorities right. Oh, these are very good.
What he said earlier that we went to dog meeting after Cheltenham. Yeah, I can't remember when that was, Tom.
Suited and booted, and you fell asleep in the toilet. We thought you'd left, and me and your dad got a taxi 50 miles on our own.
I do remember now,
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those nights.
Yeah. Central Park abandoned.
Was it? Cold.
I've not noticed that, if it has, because of the shoe banter.
Yeah, no, I knew it was delayed, but I didn't realise it was abandoned.
Talking of abandoned, Toaster abandoned again. Why haven't they got covers?
They have got covers.
Are they freezing to the track?
It gets freezing though, doesn't it?
It does. Oh, it's the coldest place in the world. Yeah.
It's a bit like when I was at Rye House. Rye House was the same. It was just so cold there. Henlow, that was the same. Cold as cold could be. But yeah, it's not been good, is it? The last couple of days, I think they've abandoned Toaster, haven't they?
Yeah.
Is it just the early morning ones they've abandoned, isn't it?
Yeah. And I suppose that doesn't help, does it? The fact it's early morning.
Yeah, exactly. What are you thinking of next?
We've got another FA Cup matchup. Brian Kennedy versus Jack Bingham. Brian, the home pick, has gone for Classic Bruce, and Jack Bingham has gone for, and he's very sweet on it, Millbank Peach.
There's a lot of people very sweet on Millbank Peach at 7-2. Do we think that's a bet?
Not for me. I mean, it is an open race, but I think that the 2 and the 1 actually are capable of I don't think they've got ferocious early, but capable of putting a cat amongst the pigeons to the bends. And the 3's, I think it probably wants close to the rail. It's got a middle tag on it. It runs out of 1 around central. It doesn't look like he's looking for the middle, so I don't know whether they'll have to clear it. But if it did get around in front, I don't think it'd get picked up.
That 6 took a really big bump in its last race. So like that last run probably isn't as honest as what it's going to be. Like if I looked at that as well, I thought 6 might have had a chance if it breaks, but it got beat by Sweet Cheeks last time out and didn't get a run at all. Was almost put into the grass at the first bend, I think, if I remember. So I fancy 6, but
yeah, I must admit, I thought 6 ran well last time, Kenny.
Yeah.
David Moniz is looking for a Trap 6 hat trick.
Yeah.
Beepers, Hyacinth, Ritzy Rapid, and Anastasia.
I like the 4 dog. You don't see too many Savannah dogs. Wrong, maybe I don't follow it as much as I did, but I don't remember too many Savannah dogs going to Romford recently. But I think the 3 may go slightly left. But this dog only runs in opens and A1s around Henlow, and a 2760 around Henlow is nothing to be sniffed at. And a comeback trial of 1669 around Henlow is probably open race time. I think with a nice draw at opening 11-2, I'd probably take a chance on Savannah Question 4.
Little shoe off update. John, I've tweeted you the massive shoe off first round tie for 2018, Tom. Elvis versus Babe. Forget the dogs for us night. Let's talk shoes.
I think we're having a cold off on the chat as well. Everyone's putting forward their coldest tracks. We've got Corby Wood and Carfin, which
there we go. I've worked out how to use the software. So those were, I think, was it Ragey Dave's first one?
Yeah, Ragey Dave.
I mean, they are absolutely
orthopedics.
appalling, aren't they? And they got
The
beaten.
bootcut jeans.
They got beaten by. Oh, let's get it. There we go. Those which are worn by.
Man at CNA.
There you go.
Ooh, dear.
it just
I
seemed
beat,
like
I beat John in the 2018 final, and I'm still waiting for my recognition. He deleted the vote when I beat him. He had half of Sunderland voting for him as well, and I still beat him. And with those as well, his shoes must have been horrific. But I can't remember what they were.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you for that, John. And if you can find the one of your mate dressed looking like a policeman, that would be really good as well. I enjoyed that. Callum, Pelor and Newcastle, both Baltic. Peter Richardson, only one place colder than Toaster, and that's Pelor. Eddie Goodall, Corby Wood and Carfin took some beating Baltic. I've never heard of those. Where are they?
my dad must have talked about him to you, Tom, when he rabbits on about his flapping. That's up in Scotland.
Wheatley Hill on the flaps, that cold, I've half the graded dogs for huskies.
I suppose it is one of those things that even Harlow, we used to go Harlow used to freeze bad. I suppose you just dog tracks. Most dog tracks, I suppose, are in the middle of nowhere, aren't they? That's the danger.
They are.
So, yeah. So my pal Alan, he always used to say, they can put a man on the moon, but they can't get a dog track not to freeze and things like that.
Yeah, it's true.
Although I think these days, and especially at Romford, and I think they were the first to do it, they've got like a saline solution. So that was always the problem where you salt in a track, it dries it out, goes powdery, and then it's just Railomania. But now they put like a saline solution, so like a salt water. Yeah. So it still keeps moisture in the track, but the saline, the salt in the water separates the sand particles and it doesn't freeze. So
yeah, we got some really bad salt burns on a dog a few years back, just running in the winter. Just took her off road. She kept getting that. It was really hard to clean up, just due to the salt or the saline that was on the track. They just kept coming back and coming back. We just ended up taking her off for a while. But yeah. Well,
that's the thing, is that with salt you can get sandburns as well, Kenny, can't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's the danger when you don't get the moisture in the track, is that when it dries out and it causes all sorts of problems, not only for the feet but the sort of the going as well, in that it always any moisture in the track, because there's a camber, always then deviates to the rails, and it's always better on the rails.
The wind chill as well at Toaster is probably one of the worst bits for it, because that wind comes across and it cuts right across the track. I mean,
but Lorraine said to me today, because I said it was a ban, and she said, "Well, Kevin spent all that money on building the border around the track to try and stop that, so that the wind doesn't get across." And it still happened. And I actually said the other night, because there were covers and they're black covers where the 4 bend traps were, and it looks horrible because they're just left on the infield. And I'm massive on that, obviously with Lifford and stuff like that. I just can't stand the fact that you get all these ugly things. Even with tractors, tractors should be out the way. Tractors shouldn't be in the middle of the track so you can't see the dogs and they obscure the view. And that's why even with this camera angle here at Romford now, because it's so low, you get all the lamp posts, all the traps, any obscurities, and the dogs go out of view. And I just think, why?
It's corner. That's the thing that frustrates me the most, and I could be a right moan about it, like about stuff in dog racing, but it's the corners that are cut. It doesn't take much to move something, like just to create a better view. Like it's a spectator sport. Make it
exactly.
It's very simple stuff. Like,
but and I think it goes a long way to keeping people there, doesn't it? That's the thing, for people. Yeah, you can do your bollocks, and you can find any excuse to add the ump. But I think if you present things right and you do the right thing, then you've got a much better chance of keeping the game intact, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Selections here?
Yeah, 6.
4 for me.
3 for me.
Any hint of an outside bias here? Trap 1, Corin Logan was the inside rail. And
Quite possibly.
4 races have been 5, 5,
Yeah.
6, 6, including a couple of 5, 6, 6, 5 forecasts.
Yeah, I kind of thought maybe I must admit that even the last 2, I thought they had chances anyway. But
yeah,
and listen, I'm normally
just
quick to pick up on biases, but I thought maybe the better dogs were there anyway. But
we'll see.
Yeah, even here, I make 5 just favourite over 6. So I was they were the 2 that I wanted to be with here, and they were. I marked them off as with Paddy Power. They were 7-2 and 4-1, and now they're 9-4 joints. They're fairly tight in the machine. On the Betfair, they're similar to what I make them. So. Are we doing the commentary?
Go for it.
Go on then. Hair's running. Off from racing. Good start on the outside from 6. 3 just canned into 2, leaving the boxes as well. Tightly packed, and it's 1 up on the inside now that goes through. Hunter Sydney has gone on. On the outer of Savannah Quest, who's run a big race along with Anastasia into the 3rd turn, and 1 still on the inside. Hunter Sydney has now fended off the attentions of Savannah Quest, but it's now Anastasia coming late and fast. High, wide and handsome gets there. Wow. 6 beats 1, 3 back in 3rd. Anastasia has come from off the pace to win.
Very good. Are we saying there might be an outside bias now?
Yeah, could be.
After that.
Could be. Although, again, I still expected 6 to beat 1. However, I suppose style of running, once one's led, I've got 1 being more of a 2 to 3 anyway. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe a 6 a better dog than 1. Don't know.
The one potentially is had a little bit of bother here with the 4 alongside it, and taking a bit of energy out of it. But it's a good buckle, to be fair. I thought the 4 would stick on a bit better than that. He's folded quite tamely, the 4.
Yeah, the 3 dogs going to the 3rd bend together was a decent race.
Yeah, he kind of hesitated. He slung his head up off the last as well for a little bit. Maybe not knowing the track that well. Don't know. Yeah, you think a 460 dog at Henlow wouldn't fold up like that, George? Would you?
No, but that for the FA Cup, that is Jack Bingham's 3 beating Brian Kennedy's 5. So well done, Jack. So that's a 3 home ties out in a row. That is.
Yeah.
Blimey.
We said it would boom or
the
bust
magic
kind
of the
night.
FA Cup.
The magic of the Romford Conference League.
A lot of Cambridge Uniteds defeating Newcastle's.
Yeah.
The lads on the Betfair forum are watching. Hello, lads.
Yeah, interesting race, the next one.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
Into the good stuff
can,
now.
You can start unpicking it. I'm going for another beer.
Yeah, this is a really, really good. Well, obviously, we're talking about the Essex Bars now, so it's a really good race. But someone said to me earlier on that Dapper Rodney didn't beat that much when he won well, but he was certainly impressive on the eye, and obviously the clock was good as well, even despite the fact it was a -30 going out.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether Betty's book could put him under pressure in the early pace department.
Well, I mean, I think Abby will. I was speaking to Brian yesterday about Brian Kennedy, who's obviously a Kilkenny specialist, and said Abby's been a good buy and stuff, and could do well here. But I mean, the trial was quick enough over 4 bends, but I think that trial alone will put pressure on Rodney going to the first bend and round, and I think it could cause a few problems. And if there's any problems on the inside, then you might be right. Or Nipsey Hussle could even benefit from it as well. So
they do rate the Betty's book, the Boone Kennel, but if Book led just on the outside and Rodney was a length away on the inside of it, given the difference in those times of their last 5.75 runs, I'd fancy if the gap's open, Rodney to do it from off the pace as well. Given that he's a third in the Eclipse, doing sub 30 times around Nottingham after bother. Although the one as well reached the final of the Brighton Bell, and 3.79 split and 24.03 recent trial. If repeating that would certainly put a cat amongst the pigeons. But obviously nighttime Danny as well in 4. I mean, not to be dismissed, although probably lacking a bit of fitness, but a 35.16 if it did cut up rough up front. But I think Dapper Rodney that first run and just turn handy. Those looks a real nice sort for Bobby Dinnan and Nathan Hunt.
Yeah, I must admit he's a dog that caught the eye. And you're right, George, as well. When you look at his bare form, when you ran at Nottingham, he's run against Sign It Ace and Forest Gold, which they're top quality 4-bend greyhounds, aren't they? They are the upper echelon of what's about on the open race scene. So the fact that I think, and looking at Dapper Rodney's form, Nathan's treating him like he's got a really good dog in his hand. So he's preparing him.
Trialed him in, no trial stakes, just trials and let him go. So rather keep thrashing him round and round and round, he's kind of minding him, if you know what I mean. So, and thinking that maybe this is a target for him. He doesn't.
I thought he might have too much class for Gary Glass Abbey, but I think even Tom said earlier on to me, he said he just worried whether Gary Glass Abbey might give Rodney something to think about. Although I just think his class might just take him past her,
Yeah, I think watching him at Nottingham, and obviously Sign It Ace, absolute machine from the boxes, but still posting splits in the 490s regularly.
Yeah.
That would be good enough to lead up a race like this, and he's not out in the 4 or 5 where he's got to clear the field. He's just got to clear the one. So I'm thinking it's potentially going to go or open up odds on, but certainly up to maybe 7-4 earlier across the boards, which I thought was very fair.
What he was sharing with us, he was trying to get money on Hustle. I think it was earlier on Sportsbook. It was 16-1. I think he was offered 1.
Well, Hustle's got a great draw. And Carol Weatherall's come down, and they've given it again a trial at Sheffield, trial at Crayford, posting some very nice times. Again, was in that competition at Nottingham, and set some sectionals in the 490s as well. So if that got off the front, that'll be hard to catch.
Definitely.
So 16-1 again, a big price, but this is obviously the Cat 1 competitions, especially 5.75 Romford and Dog stepping up, is always intriguing to see. But based on what they've done so far, and a 34.88 first spin over 5.75, can only get better.
They've stolen our format on RPG TV.
Yeah, I see that.
That's
the Iamsa boys,
they're copying us.
The Iamsa boys, yeah.
Right, I'm having a sharp tongue grapefruit pale ale from Aldi.
Right.
4% came from a Christmas box of selected beers.
Right.
Absolutely disgusting.
A few comments. I think Brian Kennedy's toys out the pram. The FA Cup is bollocks or bollocks. And I can spell it Irish, I think. And he's got a word at the end. No idea what it means. Irish word. Watty 92 early doors and after timing from Watty, which is fairly standard.
If there's an outside bias that run by Corin Logue is massive.
Yeah, that's a shout actually.
And it'll be massive as well for these Essex Vars races. We'll see.
Yeah. Real test over 6 bends.
Go wide. Said 7:56. Rodney's got to do everything right and got to clear trap 1. Trap 4 cuts the bend, and trap 6 got the draw on Danny out. Right.
Nighttime Danny.
All right. Yeah. And he's one of those. I must admit,
I agree.
He's kind of one of those dogs that at Romford, I think you got to do everything right to come off the back. But then he was in the ledger. He's run against quality dogs, to be fair to him. And I couldn't catch my breath because I backed Jim Star Elusive and Gemma's dog that killed us, the Troopers Edition dog. I thought I'd add the race by the cobblers, but it's again because it's Romford. It's not what Leeds wins. And Nighttime Dummy came, and I couldn't catch my breath, and he won like a champion. To be fair, and it's one of those again. And we all know, lads, that horses for courses and dogs that run Romford, you can never discount a dog like Nighttime Danny that finds a way. Joe Keneally said that he would take Nottingham sectionals with a pinch of salt. He used to break 5 seconds, and you had an aeroplane to the bend, 480 being broke now. So I get what you're saying, but I don't necessarily look at sectionals particularly, but Dapper Rodney, I look at, as I said, mentioned to George earlier on, I look at class, and when you're running against the likes of Sign It Ace and Forest Gold, you're a good dog. So, and he was showing pace against those, and the fact that he stopped the clock at 35.18 anyway. Listen, whether it was -30 or -20, wherever it was, he's dipped under the 35 seconds, and that makes you a decent dog. And as I say, I actually like the way that Nathan's trained him in, that he's giving him a couple of 400s just to tick him along, to get him to go forwards for the Essex Vars. I just like that as a training method, if you get what I mean.
I text Nathan to see what he thought of the chance of Dapper Rodney, and he said, I like Rodney, but looks like 1 could be a hazard for him early, which I think is what a lot of us are saying. No less than Go Wide, who is active on the chat tonight. 7:56 Rodney got to do everything right here to clear the 1. Trap 4 cuts the bend. Trap 6 got the draw.
I think 4. He's going to looking at it, and if 1, 2, and 3 show early, he's going to have potentially 3 goalkeepers here. The 4, which is my concern. Yeah. And he's not had a run. He's obviously had a couple of trials, but not had a race for 2 months. A bump here or there could take up more out of him than it would normally. Obviously, got to be respected, but yeah, that 5-2.
The thing with Dapper Rodney, 13:47, 34:88. In the words of Danny Dyer, that is proper naughty.
Oh, that's a classic.
I'll go grab another drink. Be back in a minute.
Dribbling to the drink.
For the best.
Inspirational quotes. Danny Dyer.
Listen, have I overrated Betty's book? Because I keep kind of I've made her around a kind of 7-2 chance, and then I shaved her out to.
She was
13:49 sectional, 35:28. It's not proper naughty, but it's certainly a naughty run.
I just wonder whether
she showed great early last time. I think.
Yeah,
Rodney pinged, but they came out level and she emerged lengths clear.
It wasn't a great race, but it was still on the eye.
My only
early.
My only thing is that
my worry is that Betty's book, George, might just rub into Rodney.
Yeah.
You know.
The only thing with her is that she's been around Romford a few times and won races, but hasn't ever posted a real lightning time. I mean, she's won 35.62. She's done a 35.43. Still some way off what Rodney's done, and obviously different story when he's behind. But from what I've seen, there's not a 35 dead in there. Although she stays further in terms of the 5.75 pace, potentially, and also as well that run on New Year's Day where she sort of was drawn in two and just nipped round in front of Toaster, but then got sort of swallowed up. I don't know whether she'd need to be lengths clear to sort of hold on against these. But certainly, in terms of leaders' chances, like we said, natural early pace compared to pinging ability, she's got plenty of that.
So do I detect then that you're saying that you think that Dapper Rodney could come from behind Betty's Book?
Yeah, I had the race down, although Gary Glass-Abbey in one quick away trials, I had it down as if they came out level, 3 would lead 2 rounds, I thought. But 2 with a bit of all-round pace and chance to stretch the legs, I fancied you come from behind. Betty's Book beat Vancouver VAR by a neck last time, although the rest of the field were miles behind. It's given that she was 30 spots clear at the sectional point, you'd think that she could be for catching, although she could come on for that run. But I just thought on those times, and I say 34.88 first look, 11 1/4 lengths, although it's a step up in class, any kind of break. Although he doesn't look a natural trapper. That's the only thing for 2. He obviously pinged there, but I don't think I think he'll ping every week. But if he can clear the one, he'd take a lot of holding.
Yeah, I just think in my eyes, I look at Dapper Rodney. I think, whoa, what a nice dog. And as I say, I repeat myself. I'd like the way that Nathan's trained him. But I look at this, and you've kind of rammed back what I thought about Betty's Book in that I don't really fancy her to win it because of
should have a big impact on the race.
Yeah, exactly, 100%, exactly right. That is my concern, is that if Betty's Book gets the old boony bum, could just give Dapper Rodney something to think about in the early. Whereas 5.75, you kind of want him to be up there disputing.
Yes, you'd fancy he'd have to win the race. He'd still have to be. I don't think he'd be coming from right out.
And I suppose in that respect, in that if you're looking at it, and again, I've gone the same as you, George. You've kind of not dismissed Nighttime Danny, but you've kind of gone, well, he's going to be at the back. But as I said to you, he was against really good dogs when he. I don't know the competition. Obviously, there's a lot of competitions. The competition that he won when he did win, it might have been the Champion Stakes.
When he came from behind in that final, I remember he turned 4th, and he had, I think it was just the one railer in front of him, which he obviously coming from that far back, but
he made up an enormous amount of ground, But
at the first round of a competition with no run for 2 months, I just worry that he just tapped for a bit of any bump here there. He probably come on if he qualified. He'd absolutely come on for it. But in terms of a 9-4 shot in this race,
point. Yeah,
tough. But yeah, I'm happy with 2. I think.
What about Watty? What potential bias? Nipsey 16-1, back in 8.2 Smoky. Yeah,
I think Nipsey's
not beyond the round.
Great chance. Yeah.
Nipsey is a very good dog.
It's been trialing from 1 and 2, interestingly, but then a middle seed back on it.
I've got Nipsey like a lane 3 dog really anyway, so I don't really think that he'll be middle to he'll be wide sort of thing. But and he's a bit of a clumsy dog, isn't he? That's the thing. He's one of those dogs that probably he'd want to be nearer the front than the back, and he's got to clear 2 and 3. But there's nothing to say that he won't break from the wide and get himself in the race. But yeah, it's a really it's a conundrum. It is a conundrum, and I've not got any confident pick here. Obviously, we've got the FA Cup, 2 Dapper Rodney.
Yes, we need to have a look at that, don't we?
And Nighttime Danny. They're the 2.
Dave Clark.
They're the 2 that you'd say were first and second favourites. Yeah.
Dave Clark's got Rodney.
It's a great
in
matchup.
2, and Leighton Davis has got Nighttime Danny in 4.
It's a great matchup. I mean, if you're in a match bet, Nighttime Danny is a great dog to have running for you.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
I mean, even off the front, like we said, if one, Nathan said he thinks the 1 could be a problem. Off the front, the 1's 24.03 Romford trial and a 33.93 Crayford coming back after a couple of weeks off. That's still some going. Still some serious going. Been winning races.
Is
around
that why Dapper Rodney's now 2-1 on Betfair?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Because that is a drift. That's a drift now, isn't it? From the
would
the
Dapper
quote that he was.
if Dapper Rodney had a slow away dog on the inside, what price would it be? Evens?
I don't know, because I'm still. I've
got
always
6 pence to
always
get
been the
round.
same. I've always been a bit of one of those. I'm still really conscious of the fact that Betty's book, despite the fact it's on the outside of him, can still rub him because of the lines that she's going to take. She's going to edge in. She won't be moving off. Put it that way. So
he's a big dog, though, Rodney. 36 kilos.
Yeah, but I'm just worried about if she takes one and just cuts across him, then he's got to be jumping. He could jump over the back of her or whatever. And you're right. I've got to tell you, I wasn't really that worried about Gary Glass Abbey, but now Tom's mentioned it more and more.
The six will go in now.
It is more of a negative for Dapper Rodney. Listen, let's hope we get a clean run race.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, that 379, 2403. That is lightning for a 4-bend dog. That would win the majority of opens we've seen in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And this is a 6-bend race.
Yeah.
Different with a short run to the bend, though. I think you tend to get less trouble if
28.44 Perry Bar for 350. It's a decent dog. Kilkenny.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Brian was saying it one. Brian was saying it's
28.90. 28.80 Kilkenny. Beating the 29 is very impressive. It's a decent dog, this.
Yeah, it was sold. Brian said it was sold quite. It wasn't a huge amount of money in the sales over there, and then was bought on, trained on, and sold again. But so it's capable. It'll be stronger running as well. I mean, any dog it does a decent time at Kilkenny is a strong running dog.
Yeah. Rotty, Danny Court Edition, the Champion Stakes finally won. Doesn't happen too often. Yeah. Thank you.
This is a really
good job.
race.
I've got a disgusting grapefruit beer to wash the pain away from last week.
What happened to the Stella, Tom?
I've got a backup Stella here to wash it down. Yeah. I knew there was a risk with this one. It's been sitting there for a while.
The old craft beers.
I had a nice IPA.
From Christmas.
Yeah, I was loading them into the fridge on Sunday, and one of them went off in my hand like a hand grenade. Just beer fucking everywhere. I was a few beers in at that point, and you don't want to be facing that.
By the way, Nottingham's been abandoned tonight. Heavy fog.
Blimey.
So we have to thank the Lord that Romers is still on. Wave of the flag. Heat 1 of the Coral Essex Vars. FA Cup, Trap 2, Dapper Rodney. Trap 4, Nighttime Danny. And they are the main two of the betting. Away and Racing, and Dapper Rodney has stepped out lively and leads into the turn just in front of Nipsey Hustle, who's got to turn in a pitch. Then the outside comes Seaglass Smoky. In behind these, running off is Betty's Book off a true line and gets hampered out the second turns. They cross the win line with a full circuit to race. Nip and tuck between Dapper Rodney and also Nipsey Hustle. Dapper Rodney is a length clear now from Nipsey Hustle. Big gap back then to Nighttime Danny, who's starting to stay on. And as they reach the penultimate turn, it is Dapper Rodney now with a 2-length lead. Here's Nighttime Danny with a late thrust up towards the line. Dapper Rodney, Nighttime Danny has nailed him, I think, right on the line. He'll go to a photo. It's tight. The match bet, the FA Cup, the crowd go wild. Who's won it?
No one knows because of the bloody camera. Sort it out. Sort it out, boys.
I thought 4 might have got there.
I thought so as well.
Yeah.
Laura, what he would have told me straight away. A length. He's won a length.
Oi, oi, oi. Leighton's oi in already. He's on the 4.
It's a great race, by the way.
Off of a 34.88 last time. That's they've got to that.
She didn't lead. She didn't take part. Betty's Book, by the way. So that pain was alleviated, Tom, and there was no dangers from Gary Glass Abbey either. But maybe Nipsey Hustle's run a burster trying to keep tabs with him.
Leighton Davies, who I believe won that heat. Oi, 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 oi. That's the spirit.
Yeah, that's 4. Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
It's a great race, to be fair.
Yeah, it was a good race. I thought Nipsey had a chance turning handy.
Yeah.
Is that
confirm
potentially
He needs to turn
a bit of
around the pitch
outside?
like that, yeah.
Yeah.
He runs more middle there than the two there. Danny, do you reckon there's a bit of a? He's a class enough dog though. Pick anything up the forward. I'm not sure that tells us anything.
No, I think Nighttime Dan's just, as we mentioned earlier, he's one of those dogs. He just runs Romford really well.
Off a layoff as well. He's only going to get quicker.
Good tussle though, wasn't it? Good tussle.
Very good race.
Good tussle.
Not how I thought it would go. And
Good tussle.
fair play.
Some run the 18-1 anti-pace not looking half bad. Absolutely.
Dave Clark out of the FA Cup. I'm sure he's watching us, and I'm sure he's devastated.
I'm sure he's.
Cheers,
He's
Dave.
got a pony, though. To be fair, he's got a pony. You won't like that.
No.
Who does?
We're going to do the final draw live on here later.
The final draw.
Sorry, the next round draw.
Second round draw.
It's the grapefruit beer. It's getting to me. It's getting to me. It's only 8 o'clock. Christ, I had dinner this week as well. I didn't last week, which probably contributed to how the evening ended. They've got Cork up between races, so if there's any Irish judges out there who fancy anything, let us know. PL, tell us about your project in Ireland.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a slow process, really. Where it started, I think, March, April last year, when we first put in for an application for a license. With obviously is Harry Finley's baby, really, in that he's trying to get a low margin tote product for the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried to get in. He contacted me. Well, we were talking to each other through. I read his book and contacted him because I did a. This is going further backwards, by the way. I did the Cheltenham race. I did a race at Market Raisin, and he had a dog running called Oki Giali, who some lads might remember, who used to run at Walthamstow. And he was literally on his sofa and ended up entering him in the straight race at Market Raisin and won it. So I had his number through the entries and all that. And then I read his book, and I rung him to say, how you doing? And I really enjoyed your book. And we sort of then kept in contact, and we would sort of do it. He likes to hunt the chasers, and so do I, and obviously the dogs. And then the thing with the tote tried to get in with the Greyhound racing to break into, because the people that now own the tote bought it off of Betfred and tried to do things differently, and they wanted to break into Greyhounds. And obviously Harry's massive into the Scoop 6 and the tote jackpots and stuff like that, and Greyhounds, as you know. So he asked me to try and price up races for the Nottingham Derby, and they were hoping to get the ability to do that. But what happens is with ARC, with SIS, they've all got their own small print which says they've got their own tote, although no one really bets on the tote these days because of the 35% takeout. No one perceives it to be value. So we couldn't get in for the Nottingham Derby. And as you know, I had my dogs at Nottingham when I was doing the prices there. And Harry's big on algorithms, a bit like us now. You know, all the melting pot of the ideas go in, and you come up with the selections and the analysis of what you think is going to happen. And the more heads, the better. What he would call pissing in the same pot. That's his terminology.
How does that? Because I've read Harry's book, and he puts up the algorithm in there, and I've no idea how it works. How does it work?
So basically, an algorithm is a mean or an average of so tonight, for instance, it'll be what Kenny makes his prices, what George makes his prices, what you make your prices, and what I make my prices. And then what you do is you tweak them because like, for instance, in an earlier race, George said he fancied Paul Salas's pitching 4. And I said, well, yeah, she's got a chance, but I think she might jack it. So George has got a better opinion of that, the chances of that ground than I have. But what I do then, because I respect George's opinion, I change my angle on it. And so if I make it a 6-1 chance, George makes it a 4-1 chance, we make it maybe a 9-2 chance or whatever. So you frame up. So, but through that, you've got a strong opinion of what that market would be. At the moment, everyone moans and groans and whinges and moans and says, oh, they're Mickey Mouse prices. Tony Bullen's on there, and I heard him literally a week and a half ago saying, I don't even look at them anymore. They're not worthy of what they are. And all they do is they drive people away from the sport. So what Harry's saying is, if you put up prices that mean something with a tote, the tote can't lose. So they're encouraging you to have the bet at the price around where you make it. Now, you don't have to have a bet in every race anyway. But the point is, they're the prices. If you want to have a go, then have a go. And Australia are big on this as well. I remember seeing during lockdown, literally a year and a half ago, something that Neil Price sent me about a company called TopBet. They call them analysts. They make price that they employ someone to put prices up. So they're real prices. They're not Mickey Mouse prices. They're saying that's our opinion. We're a bookmaker. Now come and have a bet. Because in my eyes, bookmakers, how can you make a profit if you don't take a bet? Yeah. So Harry's vision was that you create prices, you create a market that is respectful, which is credible, and crack away. And so we tried to do that at Nottingham, couldn't do it. We tried to do it at Toasted last year, couldn't do it because of the small print of these media rights deals. They don't want anyone having any piece of the pie, even though, to quote Lorraine Sands when she spoke to Gordon Bissett, your tote is crap. So we want to try and prove that a 10% tote model will work. We'll get, and to be fair, Tom, a bit like Bresbet go up and they say, well, we'll bet to a smaller margin, but they're our prices. They're the prices that we believe in. Now I know, everyone's going to say, oh yeah, I can't get a bet on with them. I know that, but they're trying to have an opinion, and that is important when you're trying to balance the books, if you like. If you're just putting up fabricated prices and closing accounts left, right, and centre, there's no longevity in it. It will not be sustainable. So that was the reason why we started. So Harry saw the only way we can do this if we get our own track, and he saw Lifford. The sort of I suppose the close part of it with me and Lorraine was that we went to Lifford in 2007 at the invitation of Kim Zanzoni when she was general manager there to do a seminar, and Lorraine had literally just was in the middle of training at the Greyhound of the Year, Spear and Lewis. So she's got a little bit of respect in that she knows how to train a greyhound and she knows how to look after a dog, and she did a talk and a seminar on greyhound husbandry, and by the same token also Brian Jones was there on how to be a vet, if you like. So people that loved greyhound racing went there to listen to an expert in their field, if you like. We went to Lifford and thought, what a fucking place this is. There was I think it's like a 10-12 million pound stand there. It's an awesome place. It looks
great in the videos.
It would knock most of the ground tracks in England out of the park.
Yeah.
And
the fact it's all glass all the way across, rather than having big frames.
And the facilities are great, but it's not just that. It was the track. And bearing in mind, when I was at Crayford for 10 years, I used to walk around the track before every meeting. Every single meeting did I walk around the track, and that was only again probably from Graham Blomfield, who was a bit of a mentor of mine. Really, he was the odds compiler at Ladbrokes, and he used to walk around the track. And I thought, well, if he's doing the price, I'll walk around the track. And some of the lads, which I think I mentioned last week, or maybe the last couple of weeks, about some lads, they go there, they want to do the job and have a cup of tea. But when dogs are running on that surface, and when you want the best out of the dogs, you want it all to be right. And there was a man I met at Lifford called Canis Crossan, and it was like that track was his baby. It was as smooth can be, and everything he did was he just made everything perfect for the dogs. And he was probably a bit like-minded in that he knows that animals have got to run on that surface, and he wanted the best surface for those animals to run on. And it's just, I think if you love the game, that's what's important. Yeah. People just lose sight of that. It's just become a numbers game now. SIS and ARC have just gone numbers, 14 races, just keep the conveyor belt going. And it's turned the sport into a lottery. It's just, I think even today I heard the word respect. It's like, maybe it was Billy Boyle when he did the interview with Floyd about that respect for an animal that people just, they haven't got that. And I think because I've trained or helped train greyhounds with Lorraine, she's just a master at being able to look after a dog to the best of her ability. And it's not all about winning and losing. It's about getting that dog to perform to his best. And when you're close to animals and you see the love that they give back to you and they perform for you, that's what kind of gets you that bond, and that's what gets you that passion, I think. Whereas when it's just how much money can we make out of this, and we'll shut his account and all that. That's when it gets where people get demoralised with the sport. So as much as everyone thinks that Harry Finley is a massive punter, and he's also got a massive heart, and he's also got a big brain which tells him what's right and what's wrong within the sport of greyhound racing. And that's where I suppose me and him are like-minded as well. So that's where it's took us. It's gone to a long process throughout. I did a business plan. Again, didn't know how to do a business plan. Kim Zanzoni helped me massively with that because she'd been general manager, and obviously she's an intelligent person. She works for she was general manager at Romford, wasn't she? And also she works for Ben at Star Sports now. So yeah, it's been, but now we're kind of got into legal processes, but to be fair, to give myself a G up, again, I hadn't done a business plan, but it got over the line and we got the license, and we've got a really good relationship with the GRI there in Ireland. But it's the legal process that slowed us down, getting everything into place. There's lads that have worked in the background. They're there. A man called Cathal McGee. His family built the place in the first place before they sold it to the Duffys. He's been there. He's 80 years old. His nephew's there. There's a couple of lads that are there. They've been working tirelessly. Lorraine's been advising them on colour schemes and stuff like that. So we've been toing and froing, and it's coming together brilliantly. We've got some lads that are going to do the catering for us, which they've got restaurants in Derry, really, really good food. We've refurbed the traps. We've got the new sand on there, and things are progressing. It's just the actual physical getting the legalities sorted out, which we keep saying it'll be Friday. It's gone on and on and on, but it's nearly there. I think the plan was to open in March. It'll probably be near April now. So. Mm-hmm. So that's where we stand. But it's really, it's to prove that a low margin tote product will work with credibility in the prices.
Very good. Well, if you once get it off the ground, if we can find some way of watching the races from here, we'll have to have a watch along one of the nights.
Stop. And then that's something that I said to Harry in that, because I watch a lot of the Australian racing, and there's a lad out there, Callum Robson, that I've been following, and he does some stuff for the Tab Radio, and him and David Short and one of the best commentators that I know, Peter O'Neill, that it's just, I mean, like what we're doing now is, I think it's down to earth. People respond to it, and it's positive. So yeah, watch this space. Let's hope that Lifford all comes together, and one day we'll all be over there and having a shant.
Absolutely, we are rooting for you. Right, 2 minutes to off on this. What are we on, George?
I fancied the 5. I thought the draw was nice, plenty of early. I could probably forgive the last run where it got picked up. The 2 favourite for a lot of people. This is just far shorter than optimum trip. Probably wants another lap. Could be sort of caught out the back and getting a bit of bother with 4 railers there. I mean, I said that about Nighttime Danny, and that got up, but I think even more so with I Am's a Dream and Jim Star Elusive. If getting clear, potentially is a bit of an outside bias, and if that is the case, then that'll suit. So I fancy the 5 to get out and make all.
Kenny?
Yeah, same. Actually, I would have fancied 2, but I think if there is any bias, which I'm starting to think there probably is, or might be a slight, then you've got to fancy 5. I don't think it'll be a runaway. I think 2 will get close, but I think there's a question in the chat: will 2 catch 5? I don't think it'll be miles off, but I think if there's any kind of bias, then the 2 will be in trouble.
PL.
Yeah, again, I'm not massively worried about biases particularly, but I'm the same as the lads. I've actually bet Jim Star Elusive at 7-2. I thought it was massively overpriced. I'm probably making what he is now, 9-4. I think Fight the Power can again give Arms a Dream a bit of a rub up. Kishlon Shakira is definitely going to go inwards. One dog I thought might just improve from last week was Smurf's Machine, because he is class. He was, his Hogue form was really good. His Derby form was really good. And I wouldn't just write him off on one line of form. So maybe, I'm with 5, and I wouldn't discount Smurf's Machine, I don't think. But I do think 2 is a worry if getting a run, but I'm not too sure how she gets a run, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Fight the Power will be interesting as well. Right. Won a few times here, if I remember right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's quite capable. And I think there's a bit of early money for him as well, Kenny.
Yeah.
Hair's running. And off and racing, and 4 steps out lively, Kishlon Shakira, but it is the early pace of Jim Star Elusive that will take him to the front for John Mullins, and skips 2 or 3 lengths clear. Just steering a wide course there. Kishlon Shakira remains prominent. In behind these then comes Smurf's Machine. Out of the 4th turn, and it's Jim Star Elusive now around about 3 lengths clear from Kishlon Shakira, who does stay. Is she fit enough is the question, but it's Jim Star Elusive with a 1.5 length lead. Kishlon Shakira is snapping at heels now as they turn for the judge. Kishlon Shakira on the outside now starts to stay on well, and Kishlon Shakira will go on and beat Jim Star Elusive. It was tight for 3rd spot between on the inside Amzai Dream, who did stay on late in the day, but it will be close for that 3rd qualifying spot.
Has that horrendous bend cost Jim Star Elusive there?
What price was that?
I think what's really sealed the deal is Kishlon Shakira smashing out and clearing the inside 3. I think she
6-1.
Yeah, the fact that she's fresh,
and
the fact that she stays, she's really put herself into the contest. I don't think Jim Star Elusive has particularly done anything wrong. I think he's a little bit vulnerable. Listen, I'm talking from, I've backed him as well, but I knew all the way around the track, if Kishlon Shakira is fit enough, we're done for. And I hope I was professional enough for you not to recognise.
I will mention as well the Romford FA Cup. There was a tie there. It was our international entrant, the Indian Raider. He had I Am's a Dream in 2, but was well chinned by the Irish judge Johnny Moyles. So it is Johnny with the array. That is 5 home ties on the bounce eliminated.
Wow.
And Johnny with Jimstar. Shrewd.
Be lovely to see a bit of gloating in the chat.
That could be. Is that I Am's Dream out? That's out of the comp as well.
Nah, she's out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just
Yeah, it
wants
was
another lap
first.
for me. I thought very quick, but
Yeah.
needed to open up.
Yeah.
But if you've backed Jimstar elusive anti-post, you wouldn't be disappointed there.
Yeah.
We see plenty win big finals off the front, don't we? I think that's one. Maybe it's a year or two ago, like 16-1.
But that's what I mean about, when you look at, when you analyse a race, you think Kishdawn Shakira on her old form, she was, as I recall, she was running really well Derby time, wasn't she? Where she was running well at Romford, she was running well at Toaster, and yet you think Trap 4, not really a box, and she's got a little bit of pace of fight the power inside her, and yet she went smash, cleared them immediately, and just dropped herself in the race. She was always going to be a player if she was fit enough. And again, a couple of trials recently over 4 bends. You just don't know whether she's ready for the 6, but she stays. And I suppose it's Jimstar elusive, a little bit vulnerable. It was one of those really. I kind of knew me fate to a certain extent in that probably David's got a fit enough, hasn't he?
Interesting that the two races, the front runner. 2 front runners who've gone off favourite have both been picked up, although obviously Kishdawn turning second.
It's not the Romford way, is it?
And the time for the first race was a 35:47.
Yeah, it's interesting, George. Yeah, the 2 stayers have come through and picked up the early pace dogs. Yeah.
Which you'd say might be a worry for Coolavanianti in the next.
Yeah.
I think they're all front runners in that race, though, aren't they? Maybe Vancouver if it turned handy enough. But
true. Yeah, Broadstone Ryan stepping up, isn't it?
Well, yeah, has had 2 runs over track and trip and won nicely. But again, the time's not unbeatable. It could open up for one at a price to pick up. Sparta Master return to form. It's a big ask.
It is really, because he's got to clear a lot of speed, hasn't he?
You run this race a year ago. He goes off odds on, but
what, against Auntie?
Well, not odds on, but he was doing it. I'm just looking a year ago. He did 34.77.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. But dominating racing, that's where would he dominate Coolavanianti?
Do you know what? I'm not the biggest fan of Auntie. It's controversial, but I can never get it right. I just find she just gets a bit of bother here and there.
But she's one of those that when she
probably talk about my pocket
when she flashes out. When she flashes out, she's quick, and obviously she's Oaks class, and you'd think she's not one of those dogs, George, that's ever going to miss a break and fly up and show early. But she's one of those that when she traps, she puts herself in with a massive chance because she's got good all-round pace. And you'd expect her to be one of those greyhounds that would be suited to the easy 5.75 at Romford. But I actually have got an opinion that Broadstone Ryan probably should be a shorter price than he's ended up. I think he's drifted out to about 9-4, and I think there shouldn't be as much between the pair of them, because I think in his last 2 runs at Romford he's been awesome.
Yeah, tidy run around Perry Bar there as well.
Yeah, a bit of a change up. As I said, good spin, bringing back again runner up to sign at Ace in the Eclipse. Done nothing wrong there. Plenty of early, good sectionals. Yeah, but again, obviously, as we've seen, it's the track potentially a little bit slow. Dogs coming from behind, but I don't know whether there's anything. The last 2 races we've had out and out stayers, whereas here I'm not so sure it's a stronger race. I think whatever gets in front, well hold on, and that could be something at a price.
It looks a front runner's race, doesn't it? It does. Yeah, other than Vancouver VAR, and I suppose Vancouver VAR getting beat by Betty's Book, that form hasn't really been franked, has it? So it could be whatever led one, and it's whether I just think the 2 class dogs here are Broadstone Ryan and Coolavanianti.
Yeah. So the question is, who leads? 1364 there, 1366. I assume you've done the videos, PL, of the two of them. Which of those goes around the bend in front?
I was really impressed with the way that Broadstone Ryan showed the early to the turn, and admittedly offered decent breaks. Fair enough. And again, what George said, and I know he said, "Oh, I'm talking through my pocket, maybe," but he's talking through what he's watching with his own two eyes. And Call of Anianti isn't one of those dogs that I think is going to show enormous early pace in four-bend races, particularly. Whereas over this sort of trip, it against lesser lights, she may just do that. So I think a lot of it is going to be on the break. And again, I'll repeat myself. I make Call of Anianti favourite in front of Broadstone Ryan, but I don't make him the difference that they are on the earliest evens and 9-4. So I would rather back Broadstone Ryan at 9-4 than Call of Anianti at evens. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you fancy Call of Anianti, so now you can argue her case.
Yeah.
Tom.
So,
this is your nap, Tom.
A 1364 35-25 wins 19 out of 20 races, I would say. A 2852 around Newcastle wins 19 out of 20 races. There's not a lot in the form to dislike. Yeah, the Perry Bar 2872 is certainly not a bad time. 2815 is an absolutely blistering time. This dog gets it right more often than gets it wrong, and has shown it can run Romford.
Yeah, and I've got to tell you, I actually like the fact that Angela and Jimmy have had the cobblers to come down and further out in the ring. I have to say.
Yeah, it is a long old drive. I had a finalist at Newcastle one night, and I went up there, had a good night out there, and then came back. I had a meeting in Essex. I went to that, and then went to Romford to watch an A2 meeting, and that was probably the longest 24 hours of my entire life.
Can't be as bad as the Dublin trip we done, Tom.
Oh, that was quite something.
Managed to go to Dublin, left work at 5 o'clock, fly to Dublin, watch an A3 stakes final with the dog in, get as pissed as we
came second.
Managed to catch the first flight back and was back in the office first thing in the morning the next day.
Yeah, we left our desks on a Thursday and we're back at our desks first thing on a Friday. I reckon we had 2 pints for every hour in Ireland.
So they called that game, Kenny, didn't they? Game.
Yeah, that was fun. Like, I think we were that drunk. We ended up in the middle of the track somehow.
Yeah, I don't know if we were invited, but we were certainly there.
For an A3 stakes
final.
It
was a quiet night. The points always taste extra cold at Shelbourne.
But saying that, just having a dog now, having those stakes, they do keep you they keep you engaged, they keep you involved. Like even if you've got an A3 or an A4 or.
They do. The stakes are brilliant. Yeah. Really, really good.
And I mean, you got a good trainer. You can, you can sort of bounce around the stakes and have a bit of fun. That was good fun. Good
prize money as well.
Yeah. Someone in the chat talking about Roswell Romanoff getting him into racing.
Oh, what a dog that was!
Brilliant.
Yeah. What was the name of sprint that used to win almost every week?
Was it Hope was one who used to win, but that was a bit of a combo of 4 and 2 bends, wasn't it?
Had a text from Bresbet. So Bresbet don't sponsor us, but they're putting up 110%, and they've put up our match bets. So we're doing them the honour of putting their prices up. So we have seen people saying they cannot get on. We go up first every morning on the open races, and some of the PLC have said they follow us, which is a compliment on our prices. We lay large bets at our prices early morning to punters. What we don't want, and same as every other company, are the arbors. We do the study to our open prices and don't want to be laying 3 dogs in one race so they can make £4. We want to go head to head with punters, our opinion against theirs. There are some people on your chat who may want to confirm this. As Paul said with Harry, and Harry even mentioned this, we bet to 110% at Romford. Would rather make 10% on 20k turnover than 42% on 3,000. We're a growing company who supported more in supporting open races than a lot of the RPG TV sponsors, and will continue to do so. Remember, we went £1,000 for all Cat 1 finalists supporting the game. Good luck with the show. Breath of fresh air.
Is that an official statement? Will we get one from Jeff Banks next?
Oh dear.
Do you think?
Shocking.
Oh dear.
Fair play.
No,
Nathan.
I mean, listen.
There's more.
You know the lads behind it, Tom, and you know
Yeah.
they know dogs, and so I don't really know the odds compilers particularly, but you know, obviously they've got the cobblers to have an opinion, and that's the difference. I don't know how you sort of determine between an arbor or a punter. I don't really understand.
There's more, PL. It says if you solely arb and just bet dogs and horses that are under on Betfair, you won't last long. Some people bet 3 dogs in one race 3 minutes before the off because they are arbs and they are solely following the machine. We have respected judges who can have what they want on because it's them against our prices. They may want to agree on your show that we do lay them. It's us against punter, not us against Betfair.
Yeah, that's fair comment. I mean, I say I did actually open an account myself today, and I think I've had 4 bets. The first 2 I got beat, and
you'd be a valued customer.
I just thought, and one of them went bigger on the machine. So yeah, so again, it's the one of the defining factors is that what I respect is that people have got an opinion, and it doesn't matter who you are. You're not always going to be right. But the fact of the matter is, for me, if I look at it, if a bookmaker is or in the industry, to make things go round, people have got to have a bet. So if you keep closing accounts and you keep restricting people to silly amounts that means their accounts closed, then how are you going to make a profit? And what has again I mentioned, I think maybe last week, is that because it started a long time ago, it's now got down the realms of people are betting on other people's accounts. So now bookmakers are second guessing who those people are, rather than, you know, let's get it right. Because of money laundering, because of everything else, everyone wants to know who you are. So you give your ID, you give your details, and you hope that person behind that screen is the person that's having the bet. But you know, long gone are the days that I've got my own account anyway. As I said to you before, I have to get other people to have the bets for me, and they're probably getting other people to get it on for them as well. But it's got to a ridiculous situation. So all right, I've opened an account with Bresbet. I've got a lot of respect, and I saw them a long time ago, and I didn't know whether to or not. But I spoke to Tom today, and he said, "Yeah, go for it." And you know, I think that's what betting is about: is a bookmaker having a reasonable opinion and a punter having a reasonable opinion, and the two taking each other on. One's going to be right and one's going to be wrong, and it's going to flip and flop, and that's betting.
The thing is, the bookies will shoot themselves in the foot because the government won't allow a model which just wants losers, and that's the way it'll go, and that's the way it'll be seen in the end. They will get pulled down for it. Like, they cannot continue to do it, which is it's fairly obvious that's what they're doing, but I just can't see it lasting. It's not.
It's actually funny as well, Kenny, because I always give the analogy with when bookmakers close accounts, and I say it's disgraceful. You know, if you went to Tesco's and they were doing an offer on beans, if it was me, they'd go in there and they cut a can of beans into a third and say, "There you are, PL. You can take the third of the beans away," and you go, "Fuck off! I'm going to Morrison's." You know what I mean? But someone said the other day, "Is what about risk assessments from you know, insurance companies?" There are risk so you kind of think, well, hang on. I get that in the, you know, realistically, and the same person said, would I lay my own bets? Well, no, of course I wouldn't, because I think I've got a clue. So I get all that. But by the same token, I still feel that the Australian way of saying, well, if you want a license to have a bet, you can't discriminate who you're having a bet, who you're laying and who you're not. So
I don't know how the Gambling Commission. Yeah, I don't know how the Gambling Commission could even get around the fact in defending that winners get barred if it's purely on that basis that people are winning and they're getting stopped, because that's the bookie's fault for not able to balance their books and run a book.
Yeah.
Comment from John here, just on the arbing issue, lads. A lot of the Betfair markets are very weak anyway, especially on dogs. Not like you can arb for any great amounts. Yeah, I would agree with that. I went through a period as I was learning to bet on Toaster when there were a lot of dogs that seemed to be over, and I had a go at arbing, and it's not easy, and there's not much money to be made from doing it. It's a bit of a futile exercise.
Yeah, I'm not really one for arbing. No, I think that because I suppose in a way it's because if you value your opinion and you're really good at pricing up yourself, then that's the way it should be, and that's just the way I see it. But everyone's different, and But now arbing, I'm not really massive on arbing. So.
Eddie Goodall, Bresbet have been very good to me since they started. I price race I play, and I'm on to them as soon as their price are up first thing. I've had several large bets with them. Eddie's a decent judge.
He's a good judge, yeah.
Very good judge. We'll have to get him on one night. Was in Ireland, couldn't access site, rung up, they bent over backwards to have a bet. 2008. That's a proper bet. That is a proper bet. Go wide, go wide. A lot of us can't prove where our money comes from. So won't delve too deep into that one. Your IP has been registered. It's impossible to get a new account. What do you say? I get other people to get on for me. Yeah. We had there was a few dogs we fancied one night, and a few of us went to as many, I think it was Ladbroke shops as possible, and to try and get a price on. I think we only got SP, and by the last one, I genuinely thought they were going to call the police. Yeah, it wasn't big. It was maybe 80 quid in each shop. It's a lot of rage at the moment. Pisses me off.
Bring back the shoe chat.
Buttons at the price stays there all day, but I can't have any more on the price. Most of them. Two Bob wankers. What he's
getting involved.
Deep in the alcohol now.
Yeah.
If not already, will Bresbet go best odds guaranteed? No idea. See if they.
We might get an official statement again.
Maybe.
I think of the bread and butters going up early with actual thought out prices rather than copying everyone else. I don't think they have to justify going best odds guaranteed.
Odds check is embarrassing. Yeah, if you just go half a point bigger on a dog that you want to lay, you should be cleaning up, but they just follow each other.
Selections here, Tom?
I've had a ton on 4.
Right. Anyone else?
The one's drifted to a big enough price. I will take a chance on 6. Just steer wide and hopefully to plug on for a place at double figures.
That's not a bad shout. That's not.
I will go and sit on the sofa of shame if this leaves and gets beat.
I backed the 4 earlier. So.
Kenny, what do you fancy?
I backed the 4 at evens earlier.
Could have Annie Auntie, yeah?
Yeah, Annie.
Right. There's running. Good race, this one. Heat 3 of the Coral Essex Vars. 1 and 4 in the FA Cup. And away and racing and 2 steps out lively. Drum Do It Bomber has put it up to Cordovani Auntie up on the outside. Then on the inner is Broadstrand Ryan trying to turn the pitch. But it is Drum Do It Bonner. He's gone on for Paul Burr. A length and a half clear from Call of Anianti around the third and fourth turns there. Well clear now of the 5. Sparta Master has moved into the third qualifying spot, but into the penultimate turn. And Drum Do It Bomber is going great guns out in front. Snapping the heels, though, is Call of Anianti. She's run up the backside of the leader. It's 2 from 4 up towards the line.
Oh, he's held on.
Drum Do It Bomber, I think, has held on.
He has held on.
Bomber.
Jesus.
He's fast, isn't he? He's fast when he gets it right from the start. But so many times when he misses it, he looks like a moderate dog. Dog. And
ran wide
shows those flashes of ability. He stepped out lively there. And the Reds just kind of missed it and dabbed the brakes a little bit at the first bend. He's got a bit of history of doing that. But she had every chance, really. Call of Anianti. She snapped at heels, but couldn't quite get past.
Yeah, I think she ran into trouble twice or 3 times, I think. Just ran at the back of the dog 2 or 3 times. And then
two's run clever there. Yeah. Two's run like a dog that knows it's got a dog behind it.
And is that maybe lack of... I thought here he would go and run away from her into the 5th, and yet she closed quite quickly again, didn't she?
Just had a text telling me to get on the settee of shame. I don't think that was a shame settee run.
She ran well. She ran well.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's maybe, has Drum Do It Bomber got more experience of Romford than Auntie, you know? But you wouldn't really put them quite in the same league, and yet things happen. And again, trapping ability. Drum Do It Bomber's bombed out, hasn't he?
FA Cup roundup. Dave Kay has beaten Alistair Kennedy. I'm not sure Alistair Kennedy is, to be honest, but he's the one in the competition I don't know, but he is now out. Home win there. He had Broadstrand Ryan, who unfortunately didn't pick up a leg. Dave Kay went for Call of Anianti.
Alistair's another Scotsman, so we're not faring well in this competition, but we won the cup.
There hasn't been a single request for subtitles for you, Kenny. So that's one up on Watty. It's very good.
I was going to have a lot of Woodman's Reserve soon, so we'll probably get the subtitles out after that.
Yeah. You've got Paul Burr, his runners, they do well around Romford. It's a generalisation, but...
No, another man that knows how to place them, I think.
Yep. There's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
Paul, going back to your Lifford piece, is that is that a proof of concept that you're trying to do and put together at the moment? And what is it after that proof of concept if it's successful?
No, it's all no, that we've got basically it's I think what it is now is through the legal side of it is that there's been a shareholders agreement drawn up, and actually a couple of the shareholders, horse race trainers, and they've got probably quite a big knowledge of the legal process, and they just it's tinkering. It's kind of going backwards and forth. A lot of it was to do with the old owners originally, and some of the stuff that had been left behind when they stopped trading. But now that's got sorted out. So there's lots of honestly different facets to it, and it's been really, really frustrating, Kenny. To be fair, it's been really frustrating. And that's the legal side of it. And I think a lot of it is where Harry's kind of done the deal, I guess, in by word of mouth. It's easy, to actually get that into a legal process has proved trickier. And he's done it. So, and I think the reason it's really weird because although people see Harry Finley as this kind of legend within the punting fraternity, his grassroots are he loves greyhound racing. He just he's a really down to earth fella that just wants the best for the dog game.
Yeah.
And he's got the people together to buy the stadium with no other reason than the concept of the 10% low margin tote model, and the fact that he actually thinks that if you're buying a £10 million stadium for £1 million, you've got a massive chance of getting a few quid.
Yeah.
So those people that are actually putting their money on the line can actually profit out of it.
Yeah.
And again, it's not just it's not just for him. He actually wants like-minded people, and he's got people that he knows and personal friends to be involved. And as I say, a couple of the people to give it a bit of kudos as well. I think he's doing an interview that I think is going to come out on the 30th in the Racing Post. I think I'm right in saying. And it's strange because, as I say, people probably never really meet him particularly, but he's one of those lads that he just loves. He loves greyhounds through and through. He's just got that big passion, and he's got a big heart. He's a bit of a softie, really. He's a bit of a softie when it comes down to it, and he just wants to. He thinks that this is his chance to do right for the sport, and we tried to do it over here, but as I say, it was the legal process of the small print of tote systems that we just couldn't get anywhere with it. So he said, "Well, we have to do it ourselves then to prove that it will work." Because let's get it right, Kenny. The model at the moment is totally and utterly wrong. And you've heard what Bresbet said. They've got that similar state of mind in that they want to say, "Well, this is our opinion. Come and have a bet with us." Because at the moment, it's not that, is it? It's issue prices we've got no confidence in and close the accounts. Well, that's not good business.
No, absolutely. I think I got into the Aussie racing as well during lockdown, I think, and it's just like they've got the right model. It works for everyone. Like every single person, it works for, whether it be the trainer, whether it be the owner, whether it be the punter. Like they've got it working over there, and it'd be silly not to look across there and try and work out why it's working there and not here, But it'd be backwards not to. But
did you say in Australia?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the Australian racing. I started watching that during lockdown as well. I think it was Neil that probably got me into it as well on Twitter.
Yeah.
But
it's just sold so well. But that's probably also through them. They were on the brink of extinction, basically, because of the scandal that went through the baiting out there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was literally barred throughout. And it took something like that to basically revolutionise the way that they've now got it. But they've got it so right, it's embarrassing.
Exactly.
And we just here everyone moans and groans about it, and everyone gets really frustrated about it, and yet I don't see how it can. I don't see how it can change. I've seen bits and pieces, and all the time, you see on Racing Post TV, you see on the Zoom calls, you see all things where people get frustrated. I've seen literally yesterday, Darryl Williams, Lorraine sent me something that Floyd did with Darryl Williams about complaining about
commentators.
Commentators can't even mention the dogs' names. And it's right. It's just bingo numbers, because there's again, we use that word respect. Lorraine's massive on the word respect. And you don't give respect to the dogs or the owners or anything like that. And yet, a commentator in Australia has got 8 dogs to worry about. He names a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, respect's the right word, but I think it's pride. I think there's very little pride left in the sport where we look at after a track, how we, like, apart from those who train the dogs, like there's a few people who train the dogs who will obviously take huge respect, but even the respect's lost a little bit in the sport. It just needs to pull itself up a bit, like, you know what I mean? But
that only comes from the top. That only comes from setting standards. Again, I saw something. I think that was probably through Neil as well. In that there was an email or a pamphlet sent out to trainers in Australia saying about the standard of, and my missus is massive on that, about having black trousers, black shoes, and that always used to be the dress code on Sky. But if it's good enough for Sky, it's good enough for every day.
Yeah, definitely.
So why not? Why have people in shorts and look in a state? What?
Yeah.
And that's what I said about, again, earlier on, I said about, having, covering the line of vision and having poles and tractors and this and that and the other. Get the camera up high, make it look good.
Yeah.
Sell the sport.
Exactly.
It's basics, and we can't get the basics right. It's really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
Really frustrating.
I'm currently searching for value on the Domino's app, so sorry if I'm a little
We'll get
distracted.
after this race, we'll get Tom to share his story about when he was a kennel hand. When he was his kennel hand license. There's a good story in that one for us all.
That was very short-lived. Yeah, I will tell it after the next race. We've got 5 minutes. Let's have a chat about it.
Yeah.
What do we fancy, George?
I am Zalexi. I thought obviously there's questions about the inside, etc., but it doesn't look compared to the other races as strong as the other heats. And this bitch is, in terms of PL touched on earlier, who they've been racing against. You look at her previous lines of form: Lights Out, Ballyback Trend, Pocket Lola, Drumco Brent, Dreamstar Elusive, Warzone Tom. Been running the Brighton Bell, been running the Gold Collar. So this probably represents a drop in class, albeit still open. Plum Draw on the rails should probably lead, and if doing so, probably win. So I thought the prices earlier, I think she was 3 to 1, 11 to 4 about. I thought that was very generous. I thought she should be more 7 to 4.
Very good. PL?
I'm loving George every time I listen to him. I make I am Zalexi 7 to 4, and I actually topped him there because I did have a bet with Bresbet 130. So I'm in agreement with George, and I actually do respect the chances of Droopy's Barry. A little bit worried about the lack of course knowledge, but the trial was okay. Ran all right at Harlow, so this is about my strongest race. I bet one, save two.
Kenny?
Yeah, I actually wrote my notes. Droopy's Barry, nice trial. Be interested to see how it improves. I think Droopy's Barry's got a little chance now. That I was wanting to see what price it was. I never had a bet today though on it, but when I looked at it last night, that was my view on it. I think not long over from Ireland, I think, wasn't it? Came over the end of last year, so it's only been here a few months, but I think it was running Cork. Done the right times there, and so I thought that yeah, a bit of open race at Cork. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 1-0, sorry. Yeah, so I looked at his Irish form and then thought, but yeah, I mean, it'll come on from that run, I'm sure. Coming from Hove, then Harlow, and Romford, I think it'll come on a bit, but I'm not on the bet.
Right, this is interesting. There's 13 Gibney. I watch a lot of Australian dog racing, and I disagree. There are too many uncompetitive races down under. Under 90% of races, one dog's going off 6 to 4 or shorter. It's all about turnover. But I think in there they've got a system where you can run in a maiden, you go up through it. That it's not a racing manager. It's a strict way of going up and down the grades. And I don't. There's a lot of people that don't mind betting a short one. So you've got an eight dog race. Yeah, there might be a few dogs that are big prices, but it doesn't stop them from winning. And draws play a big part there. They don't have seeding either, but because they've got such big tracks, it kind of tends to reduce that trouble factor. Listen, everyone's got their opinion, but I like the style of racing out there. I like the way that they portray it. I think it's clean. I think the colours are good. I just think the way they present it is good, and I love the commentators out there. The commentators are so knowledgeable, and that's something that I was going to contact Darryl Williams, because he said about commentators, and he said at TRP they try and mention the names, but SIS don't, and blah blah blah. Why don't they just have a commentator that is assigned to that track, and everybody takes that commentator's commentary? Why have Hill's commentary, Ladbrokes commentary, TRP commentary? Why have separate commentators? Just have one commentator, pay him the money that he deserves because he's good, and stick him at that track, and that's it. That's what they do in Australia. Why don't we do it? Again, learn the lesson. Sorry, rant over.
No, rants are actively encouraged. If anything, I'd like more aggression and swearing. Yeah. To get a rant, let's make it
Distinct lack of
aggressive.
shoe chat, though.
There'll
That's
be a
a
lot of-
disappointment.
There'll be a lot of swearing if 1 or 2 doesn't win here, Tom. believe me.
I've got a bit of shoe content for the for us next race. I've chosen my pizza, by the way. Gone for the Mighty Meaty.
We've got another pizza story as well, haven't we, Tom?
We should have priced it up.
Tom, did you have an opinion here?
I've put a massive question mark on my pad, so no,
Right, so
I don't.
no. Okay.
No. Finds Chloe at a price, perhaps.
Here we go then. Heat 4 of the Coral Essex Vase. Favourite in the red for Mark Wallace. Off and racing, and 5 flashes out. Ragtime Storm in the outer. On the inside, she just jibbed there, didn't she, Imes, Alexi, and allowed Ragtime Storm. There was money for this one just at the off to kick clear for Daniel Brabham. Has a 4-length lead over Doodling Princess, who's second. They're scrimmaging in behind, and now Imes Alexi moves into 3rd spot, but down the far side, Ragtime Storm has shot 5-6 lengths clear into the 5th turn. Ragtime Storm for Daniel Brabham will go on and win quite comfortably in the end from 4 and 6, who are duking it out for 2nd spot. 5 from 6, 1 for the Lake for Patrick, gets up for 2nd spot just in front of his other runner, Doodling Princess.
That was
Again,
a wide margin.
wide.
That was a Droopy's edition margin going into the last bend.
Yeah, wide.
Terrible news. It's 76 minutes delivery time on the pizza.
It's not good.
It's not going to sustain me.
I think maybe
I could send my 7-month
there.
pregnant wife out for some, but
and she dabbed a, oh dear, yeah, all sorts of aggro and behind there. Pio got that one wrong.
it happens even to the top judges.
Yep, you're not wrong.
For the Romford FA Cup, that was the last heat. Billy
Trap
Brennan.
1 beat Trap 2.
Yeah, Billy Brennan beat Borowati, Chelsea versus Middlesbrough, and friend of the show, Borowati, unfortunately. I think was it
quite close in between them, yeah.
No, 2's well behind. Well, from there it is.
Billy Brennan, we will be doing the draw live on here. I've been crossing them out as we've been going, and I've got my lucky scissors, so I'll give them a little trim now. Talk amongst yourselves. So there's been 3 home draws, I think. Three home winners.
3 home winners, and 5 away.
Okay, get them trimmed.
And then John, I'm sure, will be drawing the Romford Conference League, and then whatever the Premier League. There was the impossible Romford treble, wasn't there, back in the day?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he'd pick 3 horrible races and say it's literally impossible for anyone to get a treble. And people got so carried away that every permutation ended up being covered twice over. There were that many people who got involved. As I said before, the glory days of Twitter.
Yeah.
There's a last man standing, I think, as well, wasn't there, at some point, going through the card? There's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a bit of a competition on here in the coming weeks between the lads. I'll tell you what this is. I feel like a primary school teacher.
John Moyles, can we get Jasper Carrot on to do the Romford FA Cup quarter final draw? What's that about?
Got some times. So obviously nighttime Dammy 35.47, Kishore and Shakira 35.77, and Drum Do It Bomber 35.47 as well. So track going fairly slow tonight. Interesting to see how Ragtime Storm went, because that booted clear. 10 lengths the official winning time. But again, it all just piles up. Obviously, it was much earlier in the night, but Corin Logan's time looking more and more impressive as we.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
What time was that? Sorry, Corin Logan?
23.97 it was.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Tommy Mumford.
Right, another drink stop. I'll be back.
What, he's not happy he's been beaten? Shit comp.
Been a few of those. You'll have to do a.
Where do you live for Highlands? No, it's obviously just a lot of demand. I'm going to have to drop down in grade from Domino's to Papa John's. I think they're very quick on the delivery. In fact, if we want to have a little bet between ourselves, I'll place the order. We'll see how quick they get it.
35.85 that last wing time apparently.
Burrow, he also had a fiver and you ordering a Hawaiian pizza, Tom.
I like a Hawaiian, but I'm going to go. Yeah,
well, he
no,
thought, he must have thought drinking a
It's questionable,
grapefruit
maybe.
beer.
Yeah.
You bound to order an Hawaiian.
I'm just a man comfortable in his sexuality.
So not only has he got knocked out of the Romford FA Cup, he's done his bollocks on you ordering your pizza.
You must have backed something tonight, Barrow. What's your winner? You out of the cup, out of the pizza steaks.
So George, the Derby final of 2013.
Oh yes.
We've never really discussed this, have we?
Well, yeah, 8.5 years ago. Yeah.
We were both there, both young, handsome men, full of hope.
I actually wasn't there on the night. I'd read every round, and then I was in Australia for the final. I was 5 o'clock in the morning in Melbourne, watching it on a laptop.
Yeah.
Watching on whichever pixels were in stripes, getting bumped sideways at the bend. Yeah, it was a great journey, wasn't it? Back in the days of Wimbledon.
Yeah, it was. It was. I was working abroad when the Derby started. The first round I watched at my desk on my shitty little. I was working in the Bahamas. I did a secondment from works. It was the Credit Crunch, as it was called, and I was.
How much of a secondment?
Yeah, working in the Bahamas.
I'll tell you what, they were like,
Someone
you can go and work in the Bahamas tax free as a 22-year-old, whatever I was. I was like, this is going to be absolutely quality. And I went over there. I work in construction, and we're in a windowless tin site box where we had to work 6.5 days a week, and the toilet overflowed at least 4 times a day of raw sewage into the office. And crime was absolutely rife over there. I lived in like a gated compound with a few lads from work, and it was luxurious, but you're still in prison, basically. But yeah, so Derby came around. What's the first right? I had early impact. I think it was first four to qualify. I think he finished fourth. Flew back the next week. Couldn't get back into my flat that I'd rented out, so I was living in the Travel Lodge in Cambridge, proper Alan Partridge style. It was proper. I made friends with staff and everything. So I bet you see all sorts of things. They're like, oh, we do. I was like, come on, tell me about the prostitutes. And I'll tell you what, some of the stories they told me will live with me forever. But my life was just in absolute turmoil at that point. And I had this dog just churning through the Derby. And he got to the final. How he got to the final, I think it was 150 to 1 at the start of the competition. He was pretty much the outsider, 252 entries. And the dogs he qualified past to get to there was, pretty amazing. And then, the Derby final against George, who had Screen Critic, who I think Airlie bumped.
I didn't want to say, but I've got a photo of it. I just showed that every day for the last 8 years.
Because you had 6 and we had 4.
Yeah,
and Airlie tried to get outside and just caught. And if he hadn't bumped in Screen Critic, I'm certain he would have won it. So you've cost me 150 grand, but I still like you, George.
I'm certain we would have won it if you hadn't bumped into us as well. We came again around the last. He might have bumped us again at the last, actually. But anyway,
quite possibly.
It was that was one of those. The side as Jack Dock, I don't think 1-1 Derby, and then got the draw on the night and pinged out.
It got a great draw, and Charlie gets him out, and the rest is history.
Yeah, ours was a bit of a. We got Screen Critic from Ireland, and he'd running the Clonmel Unrace Stakes, and he'd had a bit of a mark on his card where he didn't fight, but he was almost puppyish and kind of played at the third, fourth bend. And nobody really wanted anything to do with him, although he was quite quick. So we took a chance and got him over. He went to Swindon for his first race, the first round of the Arc, and ended up getting beat by Shane Boy Ali by a length in the final when he did the clock. And again, it was the first open race we had. I hadn't really sunk in how good he was. And then he went through the first 3 rounds of the Derby unbeaten. In the third round, he came and beat Father Warhawk led, and he came and just destroyed him around the third and fourth bends and went away. And we kind of thought then, well, this is some dog. It took that long to realise. Quarters and semis, obviously, that was the year of Droopy's Jet and Ballymac Vic. I mean, if you think about how they're doing at stud, it was some year. But we got through, snuck through, and we actually beat Hold'em Spy in a photo to qualify for the final, which takes some doing.
It certainly does.
And then in the final, we got the 6, got bumped sideways at the first bend and the last bend, and finished 4th. It wasn't a stretched outfield. I think you were about a length and a half behind the winner, and we were maybe a length behind that. But
maybe a length, yeah. Second place, I think we got 10 grand, which wasn't bad, but it cost a lot of money to get a dog through the derby. I think we probably spent 2 or 3 grand on physio and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, Swing Critic is funny because it was when he was young, and then he ran in 2 derbies after that. But by the time he came around to the third, he wasn't a cripple really, but he could only run once a month in the end. We put him in the first round of the derby 2 years later, knowing that he hadn't had a trial or a run for a month, and people thought he's taking the piss here. But we knew that he had one good run in him, and then that was it. So 2015, first round of the derby, he came out and pissed in at 4-1. The second round, he was against Eden the Kid, who'd just done a 28 dead the round before, and I said, "Yeah, no, that'll do us." He ran in it. He was then also ran. He didn't fancy it a week after. He could only run once a month. But he ran in 3 derbies for us. He didn't do as well as he did for the first one. But you look back, and given that was our first, it's probably similar for you, one of your first sort of good dogs, and then you don't realise how difficult it is until you've tried it again with other dogs. And I think with Furs we've got is about a 3rd round since then. So
yeah.
But Wimbledon, those were the days that track were immense. Absolutely,
it was a shithole, but the circuit was just
the running
so
track,
good,
so
good. Why the likes of Toaster couldn't copy that as their circuit? I mean, when Toaster opened, that was just the most appalling circuit for racing I've ever seen. It's a bit better now, but it's not what it could be, and that's a frustration for me with the sport. A lot of things could be really, really good, but they're not quite.
Do you know what? I think it's like Swindon dog track. I'm sure you've been. In fact, I saw Arlie Impact when it opened there once, I swear. But the running track itself, and they've redone it, and it is brilliant. Like it is really. It's now 476, a long run up, fair track. But the facilities, it's like going back in time when you turn up. It's like going into the 80s. You can't take anyone on there. Anyone who's not into dogs, you want to take them for a night out, and they say, "Oh, is your dog running? We'll go to Swindon, our local track." You turn up, and they're always like, "Oh, right." I got a mate who I go to the races with, the horse races. He turned up in a tweed jacket. I said, "You probably want to turn up in tracky bottoms, maybe a bulletproof vest or something." Like, I thought it's just not. Do you know what I mean? You can't really take Toasters that one place you probably would take someone like that. I mean,
it's the only place you take clients to. Although I've tried to get a box there for racing twice, and they've just never responded.
We went to Toaster New Year's Day, and then I was chatting to Mick Challen, the horse trainer. He was there. They had runners. I think his son had dogs. So that's the kind of place where those people sort of actually turn up and go. I mean, it's just. The facilities at most places they're kind of just running it for the track and the bags money rather than the actual punters like us who want to go and watch our dogs run and have a good experience. But that's the thing that with Toast. A lot of people don't like the track, but if you're going to a track, you'll have a decent time when you're there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I had my UK stag do there. I had 2 stag do's because I'm very bougie like that. And my first one was in Fuerteventura, which Kenny came along to. And we went to this bar, and it had the horse racing on. And there was a guy sitting in. It's just like a doorway with a table in front of it. Is the only way I could describe it. And he had a laptop with the William Hill website, and was taking bets on the dogs. And he was basically on the horses, and he was basically betting anything but taking sort of half a point off.
That sounds like John Ramsey at this.
And me and Kenny started getting a bit involved. All the lads went off to the beach, and this place was fucking shithole. Stank of chips. Like all you could smell, all you could taste in the air was chips. And we stayed there for hours and hours. And it got to the point where he's like, "You're not having any more bets on." We'd strung a few winners. Well, we couldn't be stopped. We'd strung a good few winners together. So we had to get other people from the pub.
Oh dear.
restricted in the pub.
Yeah, which was a new low. A few good comments here. Ooh,
John's is a good one.
PL is 9 pints deep and just got up for his first piss under 8.5 pints per piss backers on terrible terms with himself.
Wish I'd seen that market. Would have tried to hold it in.
Guys, you got any bad luck stories in Greyhound betting? Did you watch the last race last week? I backed a dog last Thursday at Sunderland 7:58 before the dog pulls itself up 20 yards from the line. Yeah, I'm sure we've all got plenty of those.
You've got it. Didn't you have a was it a play spot or a jackpot story, Tom? I thought you put on Twitter a few years ago.
I had the Scoop 6. I almost won the Scoop 6. I think it was the best part of £1 million. And the last horse got beaten by a nose. And I nearly put the sofa through the fucking wall.
Fuck.
Yeah, that was most distressing. Tom, have you any experiences at provincial tracks? Doncaster, maybe. We don't talk. It's like on Gavin and Stacey, they talk about the fishing trip. We don't talk about what happened at Doncaster.
Yeah.
By the way, the pizza order has been placed, so you can place your bets on when that arrives. Okay, right. We better talk about some Greyhound racing. Things have taken a turn, haven't they? This is quite a race.
Yeah.
This is quite a race. So, Call Me Steve is the talking dog of this.
Yeah.
And it would be poetic if Call Me Steve won, having been left out of the competition, didn't get in, got in. Can it win?
He can if he goes smash. Yeah, he's one of those dogs that. I mean, last time out, he looked. Mind you, I suppose Toaster can do that for you. When you miss your break at Toaster, they seem to go every which way in behind. But he stayed on like a lunatic, and he'd be a good front running dog if he could bomb out here. And I went to Toaster on New Year's Day. When I say I went, we went. The Royal we went on New Year's Day, and met Joe Kennedy there, and I bumped into John, and he was all excited. He said, "I want to win the Derby." So I think I've got a couple of dogs, and this was one of them. I said, "For fuck's sake, John, don't put him over 5.75 at Romford if you think you can win the Derby." But he is a Romford dog. I think he is a Romford dog because I think he needs to bomb out and keep turning left, and so he's got a chance. I wouldn't be betting this race. I think it's a massive, massive race.
Yeah.
I've had, and I said at the beginning of the show, I fancy 2, maybe not to win, but certainly plug on and bit of a chaser. But it's a hell of a race.
Let's enjoy it then. Hair's running.
Indeed.
This is Heat 5. And away and racing, and Warzone Thomas pops out the boxes and led into the turn in front of Coolavani Banny. On the outside is Doghouse Dazzler. They're clear of Call Me Steve. Full circuit to race, and Warzone Tom has a 4-length split back to the 3. Then comes 5, 6, 2 and 1 is the order down the far side, and Warzone Tom for Liz and Rab McNair. Still with a 4 or 5 length lead over Coolavani Banny in second. On the outside, Call Me Steve is trying to stay on now as they turn for the judge. 4 in supreme isolation. Warzone Tom wins it easily. Call Me Steve has run really well in second.
Very, very
Third spot went to Coolavani Banny. The big 3 went through, but it was all about Warzone Tom, who got it right at the start, bombed out and made all.
Very eye-catching, Call Me Steve.
He did.
Warzone Tom impressive, and that's how you win at Romford.
Yeah.
I gotta say, if Call Me Steve did that in his last start at Toaster, when I think he was out of the blue ribbons, and he flew from where he was and led at the pickup. Yeah. If he showed me from where he is now, go around that first bend, and you told me he was going to be going past Warzone Tom to the pickup, I wouldn't have believed you. That is some going. He just needs to try and avoid a bit of bother early doors and turn handy enough. But that is, that's some run. in what is, he's flown past Cooler Vanny Banny, who's a very good bitch. So that's a nice run. People who've backed that anti-post as he snuck in the competition will be on very good terms themselves.
Definitely.
Yeah, I saw him run on a toaster on a Sunday afternoon from track 1, and sitting in my office here, and Lorraine was in the kitchen. I went out there and I said, "Did you see that?" She went, "What?" I said, "Watch this." Rewound it, and she said, "Yeah, I did see it. You ran well. You ran well." And I actually thought, in my mind, that's a St. Ledger dog. That's what I thought. I said to you, I bumped into John, and I've got a big affinity with John. He's reared a lot of my pups lately, and I've got a lot of respect for the man. I think he's a genius with a dog. And he said, "I think he can be a Derby dog." And as I said to you, I said, "Well, Jesus, don't put him over 5.75." But in my own mind, I think he's going to be a 6-pen dog. And yet he's one of those dogs that when he breaks, and John said he thinks the making of him is seeding in middle. And I agree with him, because I didn't think he wanted to be in 1 when I saw him that time. So I'm a bit in between in that I actually, in my mind, feel that he's a 6-pen dog.
I think the Irish form, he ran in the Irish Derby, and came from last to first in the second round, I think it was, which any dog doing that in the Irish Derby is some going. Certainly the change of seedings helped him. But like you said, there's certain dogs who take a chance stepping up to 5.75 and they stay on all right, but he's really motored there. It'd be interesting to see the time, because in terms of a dog for 5.75, Warzone Tom is probably the one you'd say is the one to beat. And although he hasn't beaten him from where he was, he's mown him down quickly and gone past the line. So yeah, absolutely. I think maybe a track like Romford suits, but again a truer 6-pens, we could see him even better. Like,
so George, are you in agreement with me then that dog would be a better Ledger dog than a Derby dog?
Yes, absolutely. I think particularly Toaster, we've had it with Lights Out, who stays, and she's all right with 4-bends. But once you're out the back getting a bump and trying to stay on, you could look good coming from behind and going past dogs, but it's hard to win. And then when you're in a Derby, trying to go past 3 Derby dogs when you're out the back is very difficult. And Toaster doesn't really suit those coming from right off the pace. Whereas he'd be up with the pace in the Ledger, he could lead. So
which is what I thought when he got beat, when he was actually out of 5 at Toaster, and he got beat, and he literally looked lost. I thought, oh my God, that isn't the same dog that ran last week. And yet he stayed on like a lunatic against really good dogs. So that my first opinion of that dog was Ledger dog. When I spoke to John on New Year's Day, I kind of felt, I respect John's opinion. Yeah, he could be a Derby dog because he switched his seeding and he can trap. But he's one of those, if he doesn't trap, he's in a world of pain in my eyes. So I agree with you, George.
But you see that a lot. And if he goes over a true 6-pens against other 6-pen dogs, all of a sudden he's turning in front, he's turning second, and then all of a sudden it's game on. In the Derby around Toaster, as a middle to wide runner, you're getting a bump 2 yards sideways, and you're on the back foot already.
Yeah.
Interesting question here. How much would Call Me Steve cost? Price of a new luxury car. What do you think, George? You've bought a few nice dogs over the years.
On the back of that, he's just turned 2. It's hard to compare because the price of some dogs, particularly these days, just goes through the roof and are ridiculous. I think Mr. Haverton has said 11k, which I think if you'd bought that for 11 grand and you're looking at that now with a full couple of years of 6-pen competition, you wouldn't be disappointed. Yeah, you'd probably, I'd say probably more than 11k, given the potential. Winning over 500 from off the front in puppy races and then running like that, I think there's a whole world of possibilities over further. So if you paid 11k for it, you'd be very happy, I think.
My first thought was 30, but there you go.
Yeah, I had 25 in mind. What do you think, Kenny?
Is the prize money there though to justify that now?
No, it never is.
No, that's a different question.
Yeah, but then does that devalue the
question?
or
Was,
should it devalue?
How do you value it? So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say a bit lower than that, but I mean, it depends who's in the market for one, isn't it? So that's
Apparently, it was sold at auction for $13,500 a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I think that sounds. Yeah, they've got
I
a
have
decent
to
dog.
say, I don't ever think that John's owners will pay, because I always think they're pretty clued up, John's owners, you know. So I don't think they'd ever really play silly out of order money anyway. So that doesn't surprise me. But all I'm saying is in this day and age, to get a quality dog to go and try and win a Derby stroke Ledger, you're looking at, like you say, Tom, 25 or 30. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did pay that. But if they pay 30 and off, like George said, it's not beyond the realms. It's not fair play to them. It's not out of order money for a quality dog in this day and age.
Yeah,
When was it sold?
Form it's had. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what its form was at the point it sold.
I'm guessing it was sold around October.
Yeah, that's when it came over.
Yeah, so I'm saying what? Yeah, so I guess I mean it's proven itself, isn't it? So you're guessing, yeah, maybe it is about the sort of late teens, 20s would be what you'd be thinking about asking for it. But if you pick it up for 13, you're not going to complain.
I mean, would you, looking at the Irish form though, would you have bought it as a Derby dog? You look at the Irish Derby form, finish it going 5th and 6th to the bend. It doesn't, unless you're Westmeath Hawk, it doesn't strike you as a natural Derby dog. That, as PL said, straight away you're thinking, well, if you're coming from behind and winning races against Derby dogs from there, that strikes you as more of a 6-bend Ledger dog rather than a Derby dog.
And then there's no money in that, but if you've got 30 grand to spend on a dog, you're probably not doing it for prize money, right? You're probably doing it to go bit of fun.
This game has never been about hasn't been about prize money for a very long time. It has been about glory. What price can you put on glory?
That's what I asked myself when I won the Cheltenham shoe off. Well, like 60 quid these. That's probably what I put on it. About 55
right, let's do
the
draw for the next round of the Romford FA Cup.
You going to do the dance?
I won't look. I'll keep my eyes on the camera the whole time. It's quite hard to do this. First up, Johnny Moyles. First pick will play L. Davies. Ooh. I will take a photo at the end. Give him a muddle. Warren Bond.
Boo.
That's 2 home draws.
Who was it that got really drunk and did that Scottish football draw?
Rod Stewart.
Rod Stewart. Will play. Billy Brennan. Harry Hale. We'll play Jack Bingham. And last but not least, sorry, George.
I'm last out of the hat. Yeah,
Dave Kay.
Although you do need to draw the races George as well.
Burton. Okay, we'll do that.
A lot of admin at this time of night, Tom. You're doing well.
I'm trying to think of which 4 races will be the...
Should we say first 4 races in the Vars?
Yeah, that's the easiest way to do it.
There's only going to be 3 there, isn't there?
Yeah, start there and then roll on from there.
Yeah.
In that order?
Yeah.
Fair. All right.
And by the way, the fact that I didn't follow I saw it on Twitter, the FA Cup, and it's only now that I think it actually goes to a different level. But fair play to Bresbet for actually pricing up the match bets as well. And I think that's another thing. It's a different angle. It's a different look on. That's why I think jackpots are good. That's why with the tote and I've actually been involved with the developing of the site for the usage of the dog betting on the tote.
Thank you very much. Cheers, mate.
But you know, to actually for Bresbet as an individual to price up those match bets on something that's really only through Twitter, basically, it's fair play to him.
It's great engagement as well. Something that's probably
Yeah,
not enough of in the sport, isn't it? In terms
Exactly.
of something ad hoc that's been picked up and priced, and there's an interest all of a sudden from people watching this and the people who've entered. And
he's done
And
well.
the fact that the prices moved quite significantly and flip flopped must suggest to me that there must have been a bit of play on the race, you know.
But you say, Paul, like you've basically got a bunch of people who are into their dogs who have picked who they think the two best dogs are. So you've probably got fairly good match bets with opinion. And then that I'm sure there's people who aren't in the FA Cup who are backing the match bets because they're decent match bets.
I just think, I mean, Finley was. He used to do that as well when we first started doing the Australian stuff during lockdown. He used to love the match bet. The only thing is with the Betfair, there wasn't masses of liquidity on it. But again, it's that age old thing. You got a front runner versus a back runner, and different things can happen. Obviously, 8 dog races in Australia, but even with Romford, it's not just banging over because it's 5.75 a lot of these races as well. It's really interesting, and I do feel that even with the Essex bars, the fact that I said to Tom earlier on, the fact that there's so many good class 4-bend dogs stepping up in trip, and you don't really know whether they're going to stay or not. And you got a dog like Nighttime Danny that you know is going to stay. It just brings a really interesting dimension to it.
Bit of pizza chat. That was quick. I'd be checking that skirt. 19 minutes from order to the door. Absolutely unbelievable. And because George is above me on the screen, George, what does Tom's pizza smell like?
it smells. Actually, it smells like. What did you get? Mighty Meaty.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
How are we looking on the over under 7.5 pieces of pepperoni salami on?
It's hard to tell. It's not the highest quality pizza I've ever had. Right, bets on this, chaps.
I fancied the 4 on the drift, but had a nice spin round. Got to the Brighton Bell final, and then before that was in the Oaks final, which can't be sniffed at. Reached the Empress Stakes final as well. So the last 3 tracks it's been to has reached the final of 3 bitches competitions. So I think there's every chance. In fact, this won the Oaks last year, I think, didn't it? Antigua Princess, yeah. They changed the name of it.
Ballymac Trend, yeah.
It was Ballymac Trend, is it?
Yeah.
When did they change that? That must be recent, wasn't it? It was Ballymac Trend.
Yeah, literally last race, yeah.
Yeah.
Nick Gill bought her, and then they didn't know whether they was just going to keep her for breed, and then Mark said, "No, we'll race her," and that was it. So.
Yeah, and I think on the class, and you touched on earlier that Romford is a bit of a trappy, seems a trappy sort. A nice draw. The addition, obviously, is on the drift. Last week when he got picked up, he just seemed to me like he was cramping a bit. I don't know whether his stride shortened quite a lot, and obviously I know it still hurts Tom, but it's shortened quite a bit, and I don't know whether it's got anything to do. It's a late race. It's cold. I mean, minus certain front runners will be cramping up, and maybe susceptible to cramping. A full night in the kennels. I don't know. It can have an impact on some dogs. So I would be against addition on that reasoning, given that he's probably not been as quick as he has been recently in his last 2 starts off the front. So I thought I'd take a chance on 4, although the one is being well backed to win again.
Yeah, I thought one of the massive draw. I don't actually think I end up backing it. It was, I think, a big price 13-2 with Bresbet, and I'd refrained. So that's the only mistake I've made tonight, and I'll probably get paid kicked in the teeth for this. Hey ho. But I agree with you, George, as well. Actually, I think Antigua Princess got massive chance.
Yeah.
So I've bet 4, save 1.
The exact same. Fancied 1, but I think 4's a big price. Can definitely do it from there. But yeah, 1 is good backing out. And...
3's going to win by 2 lengths.
There we go then.
You backed it tonight. It's not handicapped by the weight of your money.
Off from racing and 2 steps out lively, Sioma Razzle with on the outside Sweet Pear trying to turn the pitch, but bursted between the pair of them. Antigua Princess, who goes to the front now. Antigua Princess from Kennelmate, Sweet Pear. There's a length and a half between them. They're clear from Freaky Pumba. Out of the 4th turn and down the far side, it's Antigua Princess going into unknown territory here. She's 2 lengths clear from Sweet Pear. They're well clear from Freaky Pumba. And then in behind these comes Luna Prince trying to pick up for a qualifying spot as they turn for the judge. Antigua Princess, she's going to see it out. Going to see it out really well. She's class. Antigua Princess wins from Sweet Pear.
Oi, 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 oi. Judges. Well done.
It's a nice run from 4. 5's quite a nice yardstick round there. Can do it both ways. And although off the front, 35.18 on the card recently. And really good early pace there. Cut across the bend was brave. And another one. If you've backed that anti-post, which probably would have been at a nice enough price, you'd be very pleased, even though it's got to get the middle draws each time. And that showed up immense early. Brave at the bend, cut across. And just as PL said, as you said, as it got into unknown territory, it pulled further away.
She was really brave, George, and you're right. Do you know what, though? I think a lot of it is she's quality. She's got class, but you still need to, you're right, you still need to be brave with that. That wasn't plain sailing for her going into the first bend, but she went into the first bend, eyes wide open. And then listen, I'm not a Sweet Pear man. I'm not a Sweet Pear man at all. She's run away from Sweet Pear. Sweet Pear stays, and I was worried a little bit because I know Sweet Pear stays. She's run away from Sweet Pear. That was an awesome performance.
Be interested to see the time as well compared to the rest, because that was probably the only one we've seen where they've gone out and nothing. They've actually pulled further away rather than advantage sort of reduced. So that's very nice. And for a bitch who's out and gone early over 4 bends to be able to do that and pull away over 6, very good.
Yeah.
How's the pizza, Tom? Sounds like you're being held hostage.
Right, now, I'm going to have to rewind this because Eddie said about the red, and Joe Keneally's just said, no wonder Luna Prince got to edition last week. Watch him off the last bend. So
yeah, I have it on said as well.
Just having a look now. Is it behind the 6 Freaky Pumba? Yeah.
Better rewind this. And have a look.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh dear. Yeah, I mean,
has it just gone wide? It's not turned its head.
He's he can't say he's just gone wide, Tom. He's looked. He's definitely looked. Whether he can mark.
I wouldn't say 4. He's
no. I think look.
Yeah.
Look,
he's kind of more lent into it than had a look.
Yeah, he's had a lurk up, and he's not. I don't. You'd be harsh if you marked him.
You'd be harsh as disqualifying for that. I think. You'd probably
I think
keep an eye on it.
But he's qualified, isn't he? That's the thing. So first 3 in it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't. No, I couldn't mark him on that. But
what do you fancy?
So what they're saying is he's chased his Cocos off and beat and bobbed Troopers edition last week. But yeah, even so, didn't look good, did it? But that was. Let's get back to the positives, and that was Antigua Princess because I half thought that could happen because I was obviously we were all in on Troopers edition last week. And I was disappointed with him. And he's getting to the stage of his career where you think, well, he's not going forward. And yet, Antigua Princess, as you said, George, she won the Oaks. They've kind of bought her for breeding. It's not like she's on the upward curve of her career, but you got to tip your hat to that man Wallace and say, he's pulled one out of the hat there because that was a really, really impressive performance.
Yeah,
in a good field. I
fancied it as well last night, and someone didn't do anything with it. Thought it'd be a big price, didn't touch it, unfortunately. But great run. Very good race as well. What do you fancy from what you've seen? What stood out?
I think there's the two obvious ones. I mean, obviously the last two races, but to the eye, off the front, Antigua Princess 35.60 at the time, winning by 5 lengths. Warzone Tom, it was a 35.43, which again, it still stands up well for Antigua Princess. Would have been just 2 lengths off it, but more to come. But Call Me Steve, I think in terms of keeping qualifying, not having to lead, I think that's the one I'd most like to be on. Although Warzone Tom, anti-post favourite, doing the quickest time and winning comfortably, that's kind of what you want.
Well, I mean,
what time did Warzone Tom do, George?
35.43.
43.
Right. So yeah, that's the quickest of the night. Nighttime Danny and Drum Duet Bomber 35.47s. Princess is on a 35.60, but has pulled away there by 5 lengths from Sweet Pear, and then another 6 lengths back to Luna Prince. So getting later in the night, it's getting colder, a bit longer in the kennels. You probably say that's equally as impressive.
Yeah. Nighttime Danny's run well. But...
Oh, very well, and he's still got more to come as well. But,
exactly.
My only worry with him is that getting a run. You can just at that first bend, if he just gets clattered at some point, when it gets real competitive. But you can't take that away from him. That was immense. He came from nowhere.
Yeah. Good night's racing.
Have we still got one? Is there still one more?
Yeah.
It's provincial.
The lucky lot
provincial.
Let's catch up on a few of the comments. When RPG TV started, the match bets on Sunday night at Coventry were great. Only down was JK, always qualifying the events by stating his disdain for matches. I loved the match bets. I thought they were great. I thought Coventry was great. I thought everything about Coventry was great. And that was a huge loss to the sport.
Yeah, obviously that was Harry as well, wasn't it? When it went eventually, but he loves a match bet as well. And Tom and I have had a discussion wants to lift things over the line, which hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll try and get Harry on to the show. And if the FA Cup's still going, if it's not, we'll create the FA conference just for Harry to have a match.
We'll bully Brisbane into doing a match bet on each race.
But I do think it's a different angle. And again, I will fair play to you, Tom, and I will tip my hat to Brisbane. And I'm not sucking up to him. I think it's a good initiative. I think it is just a different angle that people can either have a single, they can have a double up, whatever they want to do.
You can tell who's got a new account. I said you can tell who's got a new account. Yeah,
but
it's like getting a new toy, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not that at all. Because I've done me gonads with them, but that's not the point. I think. I just think anything. When we were at Romford, me and my pal Al, we used to go to Romford, and we used to have a really good opinion between us. And whenever the jackpot got to a decent level as well, we would have the go at the jackpot. And I love quirky bets. I like quirky bets, and it, literally what Tom just said about he nearly won the Scoop 6. Those sort of things it's different. It is different. Whether it's place betting, forecast betting, exchange betting, jackpot betting, match betting, it's just it's a different angle, and you can pick your brains against someone else.
Yeah. Tom, did we not get the jackpot at Shelburne? Was it jackpot? Was it?
Yeah, I think we did. I don't remember much from many of our visits to Shelburne, but
yeah. But no, I agree with you. I think it's a bit of variety, isn't it? And putting something on for everyone.
But that's what I'm saying, Kenny. Again, in Australia, win market, place market, forecast market, match bet market.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
Yeah,
but we struggle because over here the bookmakers they've got very, very little opinion.
Yeah.
So why would they have a market like that? Because they've got no opinion.
You also get a lot of, if you go for an open race meeting and say there's a Six Bend marathon race, and there's a real short. Very rarely do you see a betting without market. They're getting less and less. You see those offering some kind of variety to it.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of races tonight. We've gone, well, this is wide open. But all of a sudden, if there's a match bet and you think, well, 1 versus 6, now that's easy to have an opinion
100%.
on. And all of a sudden, it opens up a whole new level of engagement. You can have your match bet accumulator or whatever it is. All of a sudden, then it becomes more accessible.
Yeah.
It's good innovation, and anything like that to offer punters more. It's not just for people who want to have a lot on it. It's for people who just want an interest.
100%.
Bres
bet. Let's have a betting without next week. Any short price favourite, get them out of the market.
I think tonight's a one-off. I mean, tonight's not a one-off, but I mean, there's very few short ones on tonight. I mean, there's two competitions on. It's you got, but most nights in open racing, you have a lot of short dogs, and that's been betting without. You definitely get more involved. I would anyway. I'm not going to sit and watch a 47 shot in a hurdle when you could probably bet without and have more fun.
What George just said as well about with a match bet, and sometimes that happens as well. You don't just have to have first versus second in the market. You can actually have third versus fourth. And it occurred to me and I did look back at the old history of the FA the FA Cup, the Romford FA Cup through John's Twitter feed, and I think when it got oversubscribed, they had to duplicate in the races. Yeah. When you had 16, obviously you don't get a 16 race car. So if you got 32 lads in it, 16 matches, I don't see why. If the first two lads pick a dog and the other dog, say you can't pick those dogs, they've got to now the lads that have drawn that race, they've got to pick the 4 dogs that are out, the 4 dogs that are left, and then you could do a separate match bet because it's still the same concept. It's still the same A versus B. Is it a front runner? Is it a stayer? And that is the beauty of match betting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, agreed. I'm just going to, I think John asked to sneakily pour myself a whiskey. I did, John. I've got myself a little Woodford Reserve, if you're interested, which is nice.
Right. Anything we're piling into here in traditional fashion?
Well, I might be different. Oh, go on, George, you go first.
Well, I'm looking at it, and I thought Carter Bar is one of those dogs around here who's probably was racing in more competitive races than this. And I just thought they all go up together. He's got a nice bit of toe to just lead round the inside and go on. I don't think anything's going to be coming from behind round here. And I was surprised it was 9-4. I thought it'd be more like sort of 6-4, 5-4.
Right. Well, I have played, and this is my last chance to get something back from Brentford. I'll bet the 4 here, Glengar Daisy. I thought the one was one of those dogs that can really miss it from red. Burgess Glengar hasn't got instant early, and Pocket Elvis missed it completely. I didn't think Droop is exciting. I thought that would probably be the rag. I just thought Glengar Daisy could bounce out, go zoom up down the middle and front off and win. That's what I thought. And the 5-1's all right because it's now 3-1 stroke 7-2.
Yeah. What about you, Kenny?
Yeah, Glengar, but Burgess. I don't know. I just think because it going back to one of the variables runs more often at Romford. It's used to the traps. It might get across the one, and then just if it gets in front, make a race of it. But the way the track's running, I'm not sure it has to do that. I think when I looked at it last night, I thought, yeah, gets out and gets away, but dogs are getting picked up tonight. I just thought that it'll beat one to the bend and get round, but that's probably my variables are: does it get to the bend first, and can they get to the rail and get away? And that's probably running
off and racing. The 5's flashed out. Pocket Elvis has led into the turn. Much improved effort from last week down to the break, and Pocket Elvis has gone on 3 lengths clear from Glengar Daisy in second, picking up his Carter Bar, and then the gap back to Droop is exciting at the back. We've got Burgess Glengar, but round the last turn and Pocket Elvis has left the building. He's
Hey.
away and gone. 5 wins, tight for second. Maybe just Droop is excited.
I'd rewinded to watch the back end of the last race and thought you were commentating on Cork. I was thinking, he's nowhere near the start of the race here. And then I was like, I missed it.
I had done exactly the
I
same
was
thing,
exactly.
George.
I was behind.
I was like, what's PL talking about? The race hasn't gone off.
Yeah. Oh well. Not the most
Oh,
successful.
yeah, there's a
night,
few Elvis punters in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's
there-
Watty.
there-
Is Watty after timing again? Is he?
Pocket Elvis in his shoes through to the second round of shoe-offs and FA Cups. That's a lovely run, that is. I thought they'd get a bit closer to that, but
Yeah.
what was that? What price did they go off? 5? No, was it 5-1 that? Or was it? Did it
Yeah,
shorten up?
big price, I think.
It was massive. I tried to click on it right at the offer, missed it. I think it was 8-1.
Was it?
9.6 it was.
Wow.
Oof.
I tried to click. I thought that can't be, just in case it
Really?
did bomb out. No, but I bet 4 there. Jesus, not good enough. But I did think probably one was worth taking on just first run back. But
Do we
Yeah.
pick the 3 market principles in a 5-dog race and still get beat there?
Yeah.
Sums us up, really, doesn't it?
This is just a
Pretty much.
practice for next week.
I think possibly a bit of track bias in there for the end. We never quite got to grips with whether there was a bias, but looking back on those results, I think there probably was.
yeah, I think it was a little bit better. Yeah, I do think it was a little bit better. I think a lot of the fancy dogs were there, and you know, we all fancied Pocket Elvis last week, Tom, and he walked out and kind of tried to go up, but was moving in. I suppose 1 dog less, 4 was moving in for him anyway, and he popped out tonight, and that was it. It didn't really matter what trap he was in.
Yeah.
I don't know whether
betting in first rounds of competitions. So I think watching the first round, seeing them how they play out is probably best keeping your money in your pocket. I think next week we'll probably get a better idea. But yeah.
I don't know whether there's much of or the wide inside bias is that much. Potentially the slower track has caught out a few short runners that we've seen, rather than it being wides. You know, it's a
You
cold
could well be right.
night where there's a tough track to run on. There'll be certain dogs that we've seen who've just not lasted home. So we might see better runs from those dogs next week. So, but
I think the quickest winning time was Nighttime Danny, 35.47.
I think Warzone Tom was 40-43, I think, but judging by his standards,
Oh yeah, you're right.
fancy
You're right.
34 odd.
13.52 sectional Warzone Tom. Yeah, it's a worthy favourite for competition.
We said it before, but that run by what was it, Logan? Earlier, just looks completely out of place in the whole card, doesn't it?
If you're looking at any potential inside-outside bias and slow track, that's done an unbelievable. That's
367, 29, 23.97.
Yeah, that's incredible. But if it's getting, I mean, the temperature would have dropped pretty heavily from 6 o'clock through to 9 o'clock. So I think that would have an impact on the
downhill since the shoe chat. I reckon it was it peaked.
that I would say it's where we peaked with viewers. We actually lost about 20% of them with the shoe chat, but we enjoyed it, and that is the most important.
That's the main thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good point, Watty. Topical tip, Elvis, after the shoe off talk. Written in the stars. Written in the stars. Okay. Anything anyone wants to get off their chest before we wrap up for the night?
Yeah. Well
From
done.
me, thanks for having me.
It's been a lot of fun.
No, it's been good.
Thank you very much, all.
Enjoy
Thank you, viewers, for sticking with us through thick and thin.
So next week it'll be the next round of the FA Cup, yeah?
It will.
And we were thinking about doing maybe a competition like where you pick a 3 points win, 2 points win, 1 point win. I don't know whether the viewers would be interested in that. So hopefully we'll start something a little bit different.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get it up on the Twitter in the week.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you,
you.
PL, for co-hosting.
Cheers,
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers.
See you next week.
Cheers, George. Take care.
Ta-da.
Bye.